Well, well, well. It's another beautiful day. Another great day to be alive. God, family, and the Dallas Cowboys. It's a great day to be a Dallas Cowboy fan. Man, so much talk about the Dallas Cowboys. And it's so good to just be talking about football. The Cowboys are staying away from the drama. I'm absolutely loving it. And that's the same thing I say for us. Let's just stay away from the drama. Let's focus on the football. And so today, we got a great show. And as y'all come in, welcome, Cowboy fans, Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G. I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And if you like this live stream, please don't forget to like on the way in, share, subscribe. So you know the next time we post another video on Let's Talk Cowboys. And if you haven't become a member or subscriber already, please do. Man, we have so many great things going in the future, coming in the future. And again, boy, we have a absolutely great show. I do, if I do say so myself. We have a great show. Let me give you the topics for today. We got a lot to tackle. So today, I woke up today to Brian Schottenheimer interview. I haven't listened to it, so we're going to be listening to it together and reacting at the same time. So, fantastic. Brian Schottenheimer interview. Also, 105.3. We're going to check them out. They have something they're talking about, OTA questions. I want to hear what their questions are. I've already had my questions last week. I want to see what their questions are today. Micah Parsons, OTAs. Doesn't look like he's at OTAs. And I got a couple of things to say about that. I won't deep dive on it, but I got a couple of things to say about that. We're going to look at an article about Tyler Guyton, an article about Phil Maffa. We're going to look at another article about the OTA watch, and then we'll have a conclusion in case something gets broken while we are on here live. But those are our 6 topics for today. And I do believe those will probably keep us busy, I would say, for at least a couple of hours. I'm going to try to put in about a couple of hours today, but y'all already know I'm a preacher. If you've never listened to a preacher say he's about to close, when the preacher say he's about to close, understand this. The preacher has 3 closes. The preacher has the 3 closes. He has the close, he tell you when he's closing. There's the close when he's getting close to closing. And then there's the real close, if he don't have something else to say. But I'm going to try to get out here today in about 2 hours if the Lord is willing. And I may go a little bit longer. Who knows? It just all depends. But again, our topics for today, Shotty's interview, 105.3 The Fan, Micah Parsons OTAs, Tyler Guyton, Phil Maffa, OTA watch, and whatever else comes up. Man, we got a lot to talk about in here. So, let's go ahead and get this thing started, man. We got a long way to go. And again, if you catch this on the replay, again, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Let's go. Let's get our roll call music in here and see what we're working with. Let's get that fade out. Let's go. Yep. Let's go. Nobody has roll call music like this. Let's go. Dacon's filthy. Let's go. Dacon's filthy in the crib. Let's go. Daniel Live. Appreciate you. I got that link on Jalen Ramsey. I didn't understand that link on Jalen Ramsey, but I got it. D-Web. What's going on? Let's go, Cowboys Nation. Neo. Let's say from the Matrix. He said, how's it going? What's up? Going good. John Jones. What up, G Money? Boy, people better understand. New Jack Swing, they don't know nothing about that, John Jones. Big Dal 8604, appreciate that super chat. In the crib, yes sir. What's going on, nephew? How about them Cowboys? He said, what up, uncle? I'm gonna say, what up, nephew? Yes sir, let's go. Let's go. Hey man, you know how I do it, hallelujah. Man, we gotta do that late night show, and then we gotta still do that daytime show. You know how we do it. Let's go. Lisa Worley. She said, what up? I said, what up? She said, what up, chat? Let's go. Sizzling bacon. Let's go. My man, Big Cloud in here. Let's go. Cowboys look different and the team coming together. My man, Ice Cold Cowboy in here. What's going on? He said, close the doors. Let's go. Let's go. Keek up in the crib. What up? What up? B.I. Cowboy. Here we go. Yes, sir. Justin Dunham in the crib. Or Durham in the crib. Let's go. Mr. J in the crib. Yes, sir. Good to see you. David J. What up with you? Good to see you. Dan B in the crib. What's good? All right. We'll get some more people coming in here, I'm pretty sure. We'll greet them on as they come in. Let's go, man. We got a lot to talk about, so I want to go ahead and get this thing started. But we got a lot to cover, and we want to get right into that Brian Schottenheimer interview. I'm anxious to hear it. I hadn't heard it. Before I get into it, let me read a couple of comments you guys have posted here. Appreciate it once again. Big Dal 8604. Yes, sir. I appreciate that super chat. Appreciate your nephew. Let's go. Hallelujah. Said nice. Yeah. Nice seeing the daylight. I got a couple more comments here I wanted to read. Big Cloud said we looking different for sure. Big Dow said on the clock in the background. Yes, sir. Let's let that work. Let's let it go by real fast talking about the Cowboys. Yes, sir. Let's do this. All right, I got a couple more. Daniel Lim said Rams is saying that he's officially done. Okay, I got that part. I just didn't get the rest of it. I think I'll try to read that at some point. Jayla, he said he's saying he's officially done with Miami and he wants a fresh start somewhere else. Well, if the price is right, if the Cowboys can work that deal out, he may be good. He may be a good piece for us. Neo said, really like what Kenneth Murray Jr. had to say. Okay, coaches preaching. If teams run on you, take it personally. Woo, yeah, I like that. Take it personal, and they should. I mean, running is how you humiliate a team. It is truly how you humiliate a team. And we've been humiliated for so long. Quinn Scott, what's going on? He said, the most electrifying man in showbiz. What up, G? Yes, sir. Good to see you. I got some more people in here. Okay, Sexy Sue's in the crib. What's going on with you? Let me get another couple of comments. Lisa Worley, she said, I'm glad you're talking about Field today. I think he needs to be on more. Yeah. Don't nobody know too much about him. And again, we're going to talk about him some more next week for sure, because I've started looking at some tape on him, but I want to look at some more. Coach Shotty said Tyler Guyton looks good. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Miami, shopping Jonnu Smith and the Steelers are talking. Hey, man, I'm telling you, Cowboys going to make some moves after Sunday, man. I'm very excited to see it. But again, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. All right. Let's get in this thing with Brian Schottenheimer. Let's go ahead. I think y'all will find this very interesting if you haven't listened to it. I haven't listened to it, so definitely going to listen to it together here today. Let's see. Let's get a couple of settings right here. All right, let's make a couple of more adjustments on some things. All right. All right, we ready to go. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's see what we're talking about here. Brian Schottenheimer. All right, let's go.
And it's not just time on the field. It's not just extra reps. That's important, but it's time away from the field.
All right, let's look at a couple of these ads. That's what I was trying to let go through. One of these days, we're going to get YouTube Extra or Plus or whatever it's called. We might subscribe to that one of these days.
To life. Explore our communities in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Sanchez, who most
All right,
of us know in New York.
Let's go.
In other places you've been?
Ongoing. It never stops. I've had young starters and veteran backups. I've had veteran starters and young backups. I think the quarterback position is the position that it gets so much scrutiny that you're always trying to place an emphasis on, are they getting better? Are they being consistent? Are they doing the things that they need to do? But it really is, you try to piece that room together, maybe a little different than other rooms, because, like, for example, when we had Mark Sanchez, who most of you guys know in New York, we felt like we had to get a veteran to kind of help him understand the game and kind of what goes into it. And we went out and got Mark Brunell, who was surrounded by someone I know very well, Drew Brees, and was, instrumental in Drew's growth in New Orleans. And so I think it is not a pairing, but it is something you do talk about, the mix and the match and how it looks. And I've been around other or heard other stories where some rooms didn't get along great, and that's never a good thing. But we don't have that here. We have a great room, and with Dak, Joe, and Will, it's been awesome.
Milton, is he more in because he just got in the league last year, he's more in the developmental phase in terms of how you trying to get him to grow?
I think they all are. I mean, I think Dak is in the developmental phase, and that sounds crazy for a guy that's played that much, but, like, there's things that we're tweaking with Dak, so I don't think it's just for Joe. Joe is a guy that we obviously know all about the talent, but, the system that he came from in Tennessee, created some challenges in terms of just what he has to learn and things like that. But the minute these quarterbacks think that they've figured it all out, that's when it's probably time for them to think about doing something different, because the way defenses attack in this league, it makes it almost impossible to ever relax.
Clarence Hill, DLL.
So, again, I'm just being honest with us, guys. I do not understand. I understand, but I don't understand. Why do we keep talking about Joe Milton? Why do we keep talking about Joe Milton? Joe Milton is the backup. And I know some say, oh, well, Dak's been hurt in the past. That's why we're talking about Joe Milton. Okay, so until Dak gets hurt in the present, let's stop talking about Joe Milton. The only thing I want to see from Joe Milton is OTAs, preseason. That's it. OTAs, training camp, preseason. That's all I want to see from Joe Milton. Sit here, learn. Dak Prescott is going nowhere, barring injury. Dak Prescott's going nowhere. Okay, Joe Milton, let's let him continue to develop. Does he have talent? Every quarterback in the league has talent. Does he have some very specific things? Yeah, okay, but we've seen these things in other quarterbacks too. I just want people to, this is a Dallas thing. I'm just telling everybody, this is a Dallas thing. Joe Milton could have went anywhere else, and I promise you, Joe Milton goes somewhere else, and you don't even hear about him no more. Justin, I said this late last night. Justin Herbert's been hurt. You don't hear them talking about his backup. Kyler Murray's been hurt. You don't hear him talking about his backup. Dak Prescott is the only quarterback. Joe Burrow's been hurt. You don't hear them talking about his backup. Only in Dallas do you keep getting this stuff. I like Joe Milton, but he's the backup. This is the same stuff we did with Cooper Rush. There was always way too much talk. Way too much talk about the backup quarterback. How about we talk about how incredible it is that the starting quarterback, who just had this major surgery, not only is he back on the field, but he's looking good on the field. And that's the part. It's amazing to me that as much as you hear about Joe Milton, no one is talking about other than Mickey Spagnola. Mickey Spagnola mentioned it. Mickey Spagnola was saying, do not discount what Dak Prescott is doing. Not only is he back on the field, he's all but cleared for everything but contact. And we already know the quarterback's not going to get any contact in OTAs, training camp, or preseason. Dak will be ready for the season, barring a setback. And for all intents and purposes, people have been saying how amazing he's moving around. He's doing pretty much everything Why all the Joe Milton talk? Why? Because we're not going to see this guy. Barring injury, we're not going to see him. I don't care how impressive he is. And Bleacher Report. I forgot about Bleacher Report. I might need to put that in today's topics late at the end. Bleacher Report. Saying stupid stuff like Dak Prescott's job is in jeopardy. Stop it. It is the stupidest thing. Hey, I'm glad Joe Milton has got a work ethic. I'm glad he's one of the first ones in the building, one of the last ones in the building. Okay, I'm glad about all that stuff. I'm happy for Joe Milton. But even Joe Milton, y'all got to understand, I keep telling you, I'm wondering how patient will Joe Milton be? Where there's smoke, there is some fire. Joe Milton was doing some complaining in that New England building because Joe Milton thought he was better than the starting quarterback. And obviously, they didn't think he was better. He thought he was better. He was grumbling in that locker room. He was doing some of that kind of talk. And we have to understand he's a 26-year-old quarterback. He's not 22 like most quarterbacks when they come out. 21, 22. He's about what, 25, 26, about to be 26 maybe? He's an older quarterback. He already knows it's ticking. It's ticking on him. He sits on the bench, he'll be 27. He sits on the bench, he'll be 28. If Dak is rolling, he'll be 29. Can he be that patient? And so that's why for me, I'm like, okay, man, all right, Joe. Okay, guys, Dallas Cowboy media. Let's leave the Joe Milton. Can we ask a little bit more questions about the starting quarterback? More questions, not just one or two. More questions. Again, and I do find it to be interesting, he's talking about development. I can appreciate what Brian Schottenheimer is saying, but no. And Brian, I respect him. He knows way more football than me. But Dak Prescott is at the stage of his career. It doesn't mean you're necessarily saying you're not growing anymore. But when you get to the stage of Dak Prescott's career, you have seen pretty much everything. When you get to Dak Prescott's time of his career, no one shows you anything new. That's not the problem. They're not showing you anything new. The problem is, can you do something about what they're showing you? You're not going to show. Dak Prescott has it figured out. What happens is when you get to Dak Prescott's age in his career, in your career, you do have it all figured out. The question is, do you have the personnel to do something about it? Dak Prescott knows enough that he knows single high safety. He knows zone. He knows whatever coverage they're going to do. He knows where blitzes are coming from. He can see some of that stuff. Even if it's at the last minute, Dak Prescott can see it. He has that part figured out. The question is the personnel. What am I going to do about it? Can we block this guy coming off the edge? Can we take advantage of single high safety? Can we take advantage of man-to-man? Do I have the player that can do it? So if I see it, this is not new to me. I see it. I can look over, hand signal, whatever the case may be. We can beat this. Or if we can't beat it, I don't know what you do. You pray and you try to get a quick throw off or whatever the case may be, and sometimes that's what forces you into mistakes. But when you get to Dak Prescott age, there's a difference in growing and developing. Nah, you're not developing in year 10. I actually say this in the opposite way. Man, if you still developing in year 10, nah, you're a backup. You're not developing in year 10, man. You're a backup. By year 10, no, you ought to figure this stuff out. They ought to be able to bring something to you and say, boom, 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 this is what we're doing. And you go, oh, yeah, got you. Because anybody who's played football, Once you've played it long enough, football doesn't change. Formations don't change. Formations, routes, formations, different things that are being done. That stuff don't change. What changes is the language. The language. That's what you hear people talking about. Language. They're talking about language. Okay, so everything's the same. But what's the language? It's just like in our English language. Everybody in the world pretty much knows what yes means. But what you have to learn, if you're going to go around the world, you have to learn how is yes said in different languages. The meaning of yes doesn't necessarily change, but the language changes, the verbiage changes. And so, yeah, I'm not quite, and I understand what Brian is doing. You know, he doesn't want to single out Joe Milton. I get it. I get it. But no, Joe Milton is a developmental quarterback. Joe got a long way to go, and people don't understand that. Joe got a long way to go. I can appreciate what they're saying, but Joe got a long way to go. Dak don't have a long way to go. What Dak needs is personnel and a run game. Joe Milton needs full development. Like I said, no hate on Joe Milton. Like Joe Milton, glad the Cowboys got Joe Milton, but good. Enough Dallas media. Enough Dallas media trying to blow Joe Milton. We know what you're doing. It's always about getting the national headlines. Joe Milton is doing great. Stop it. We were saying some of the same stuff about Trey Lance. Stop it. He got in preseason, and we found out very quickly he was mortal and needed a whole lot of work. Stop it. This guy didn't even come out as highly touted as Trey Lance, and people are just acting like, oh, man, like they're looking forward to watching him play. I'm not looking forward to watching him play until Dak Prescott retires. Richard Owens, he said, this is Dak year if he can stay healthy. I believe so, too. They finally got him some weapons. Not only on the offensive side of the ball, but what I'm glad they're doing is they got Dak Prescott weapons on the defensive side of the ball. Coyote, he said Romo retired at 36. Dak is 31. He still got multiple years. Quarterbacks don't get their best till the 30s. Yeah. He's still growing. Everybody should always be growing. Developing, not so much. Not so much. You get to a certain point and there's nothing new. There's nothing new you can be shown. There may be a new way of doing it, but it's not new in the grand scheme of things. So once you kind of figure out, okay, this is the same thing, they just tried to do it like this. And that's what the older quarterbacks, this is what you get to when you get older. And I'm telling you, Tony Romo, I talked about this last night. This was one of the issues with Tony Romo. By the time Tony Romo figured it out, and I'm telling us, Tony Romo figured it out. By the time Tony Romo figured it out, his body gave up on him. Tony Romo's body gave up on him. He just couldn't keep it together no more. It was just too many injuries. They just, too many injuries totaled up. And I'll tell you another person. Tell me anything you want to. Tom Brady figured it out. Tom Brady figured it out too. By the time Tom Brady hit his 30s, Tom Brady figured it out. You do figure it out. You do absolutely figure it out in this game. I don't care if someone shows you something in a different way. You, after you've seen everything, you quickly recognize, oh, I see what they did. They tried to disguise this by doing this, but it's still the same thing. Yeah, you figure it out. And when you figure it out, your game is different. You play more with your mind than you play more with your mind than you do anything. Peyton Manning was one of those quarterbacks. He figured it out. Peyton Manning figured it out, and he could actually win, and he could barely throw the ball 10 yards. Yeah, I get what you're doing, Brian. But I just really wish this Dallas media in particular pump the brakes on the Joe Milton talk. Just pump the brakes on this stuff. Daniel M., you talked about that trade for Ramsey. You know what? The trade isn't as a big deal to me. if somebody will be able to convince Miami to eat some of the money on Jalen Ramsey, yeah, it's gonna be a battle for him then. Because if the Miami Dolphins will eat some of that money, I guarantee you, they are going to take that trade. The Cowboys got to be careful though. They don't want to give up all their doggone they don't want to give up all their doggone draft picks. Tuck said he was asked the question, I don't hear anyone talking about Joe excessively. Oh, yeah, they are. Trust me when I tell you, they are talking about Joe excessively. Tuck says, again, he's the quarterback too, but why are we threatening about Joe being talked about? Dak will be okay. He just needs to be tightened up. Tuck, I appreciate what you said. The reason being is that is the same stuff that has divided the fan base. I talked about this a lot last year. The magical unicorn of Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush was the magical unicorn until last year. All everybody kept talking about. 4-1, only one loss. Most wins without a loss of any Dallas Cowboy quarterback and any quarterback and blah, blah, blah. And then we started this nonsense. Cooper Rush is better than Dak Prescott. Cooper Rush is better than Dak Prescott. Oh, the team plays better with Cooper Rush. We even had one of the 105.3 personalities hoping on air Dak Prescott gets hurt so Cooper Rush can come in. How many fans have we seen saying we want Cooper Rush over Dak Prescott? They should have kept Cooper Rush over Dak Prescott. This is not the same as any other team. And Tuck, I appreciate what you're saying, but that talk is divisive. To continue to talk about a backup quarterback when no one else is talking about the backup quarterback. Go show me the press conference today that other teams sitting in press conferences are asking, hey, what about Joe Burrow's backup? How's the backup coming along? Nobody cares how Justin Herbert's backup is coming. I don't care about any backup quarterback in this league because his name says it all. Backup. Break in case of emergency. Is he good? Yeah. Is he good? Okay, good. That's all I want to know. Can he win maybe 2 or 3 games in a 5-game stint? Is that what he can do? Okay, good. I don't need to hear anything else about him. Let's focus on this team. Can we focus? Can we focus on the quarterback? Dak Prescott, what he's doing is incredible. Let's keep it on Dak Prescott. Keep it on your starting quarterback like other teams do. No one's talking about no doggone backups. Sexy Suze, how you doing? Good to see you. She said Schottenheimer is talking himself into a media trap. He needs to choose his words carefully. He's just playing right into the media hands. Sexy Suze, you're exactly right. And I've noticed this, and I said this the other day. I wish Brian would stop saying some of this stuff about Joe Milton. He needs to understand who he's dealing with. He's not dealing with the Seattle media. He's not dealing with the Chargers, the Jets. He's not dealing with that type of media. He's dealing with the Dallas Cowboys media, the Dallas Cowboys fan base. He's dealing with the team that everyone tries to hang on everything someone says in the media. And the more you keep talking about this, the more people keep blowing this stuff up. And I'm going to show you something real quick. And then we're going to get back to Joe, get back to this thing. Get back to this thing with Brian Schottenheimer. But I'm going to show you. See, some of us, I guess we don't really see some of these things that people are saying out there. But there are a lot of things being said out there in the national space. Even when it comes to Joe Milton. Big report on Bleacher Report. Big report on Bleacher Report. And if you don't think the Bleacher Report is a big deal, the Bleacher Report is a big deal. And they're already out here reporting, talking about, Dak Prescott is in danger of losing his job. To who? Oh, Joe Milton. Crazy talk. Crazy, absolute crazy talk. And they keep making, and even on Athlon Sports, they keep talking about this stuff with Joe Milton. And Sexy Suze, you're hitting it right on the head. This is a media trap. You keep talking about this stuff, and the next thing you know, it becomes a huge story. So look at this. Let me just show you. All over this thing, all over the net, you can just see these headlines. Look at how crazy these headlines are. Look at this. Look at this. This is a big deal. This is the stuff that divides the fan base. This is the stuff that the media loves. This is also the stuff. Y'all don't think these players on these teams listen to this stuff? You're sadly mistaken. They're listening to this stuff too. These players can't stay off of social media. They hear this stuff. And you got to be careful when you start talking about this stuff. Again, just look at these first four. Look at this. Dallas Cowboys head coach raving about quarterback Joe Milton during OTAs. Is he raving about him? I guess that's up for interpretation. Raving about him. Look at this. DallasCowboys.com. Joe Milton garnering early praise from Cowboys for talent, work ethic. Sky's the limit. 6-year college quarterback. Second year in the NFL. Sky's the limit. Okay. Blogging the boys. Cowboys News. Joe Milton receiving some early praise from the coaching staff. If you do not think this stuff is dangerous, let Dak Prescott get off to a slow start in the season. Let Dak Prescott get off to a slow start. I know our Dallas Cowboys. I know our fan base. Let the Cowboys get off to a slow start. You think they're blaming Brian Schottenheimer? They're going to be talking about Dak Prescott. Joe Milton is better. They ought to just play Joe Milton. This type of talk, you have to be very, very careful with this kind of talk. This is the same type of rhetoric that when Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones start saying stupid stuff like this. No, Tuck, I disagree. No, we're hoping for the demise of QB1. Because when Cooper Rush took over, Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy saying some of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Jerry, will there be a fall off with Cooper Rush coming in the quarterback? No. Cooper will be able to do the full repertoire. Yeah, we found out that wasn't true very quickly. Mike McCarthy had the unmitigated gall to compare Cooper Rush to Rich Gannon? I'm sorry, if I'd have been Rich Gannon, I'd have called Mike McCarthy up on the phone. There is nothing about Cooper Rush that resembled Rich Gannon. Only in Dallas. Only in Dallas do we do this stuff. They didn't even do this to Tony Romo. I don't know, maybe Tony Romo didn't have the kind of backups. But who heard about the backups when Tony Romo was here? Only in Dallas do we do this stuff. We got to stop it, man. We just have to stop it. And if we don't see the detrimental effects of this stuff, I don't know what to tell us. But it doesn't make sense to be talking about the doggone backup quarterback. It don't make sense. I don't care if the quarterback has been hurt. There are other quarterbacks we're not acknowledging that they have an injury history. Yes, in this league. Joe Burrow is one of them. Serious. He's been hurt almost as much and even as severe or more severe than Dak Prescott. I don't hear nobody talking about his backup. He didn't even make the playoffs last year. Cincinnati since that Super Bowl? I don't hear people talking about his backup. Justin Herbert, I'm not hearing this stuff. He's been injured, major injury too. Kyler Murray, major injury. Injuries. I don't hear anybody talking about it. It doesn't make sense. We just got to stop. We just got to stop talking about it so much. I appreciate we got Joe Milton. I like Joe Milton. I don't want to hear about Joe Milton. My man Jared in the crib, number one Dak Prescott fan. What's going on? King out a secret. I think Dak does use it as fuel. I think he used it as fuel with Trey Lance. I think he used it. And I can appreciate that. But while Dak Prescott can use it, it is very divisive for the fan base. And that's one of the reasons why our fan base was divided over Cooper Rush. We're talking about a man that even after he became a free agency, he still couldn't get a job. There were teams who said, we'll rather go in the draft than get Cooper Rush and let him be a bridge quarterback. But here in Dallas, we were saying, oh, he's better than the quarterback. This is crazy. I'm very interested. Bleeding Blue in the crib. Yes, sir. Let's focus on the positives. Yeah, and I'm very interested in what you're saying. Training camp is coming. I want to see what he does in training camp. We were saying some of this same stuff about one Cooper Rush. And I'm just saying, too much of the Joe Milton talk, man. It's just too much of this stuff. Just too much. And I'm like Sexy Suze. I really think Brian Schottenheimer needs to use his words very, very carefully around this Dallas media. Because I don't think people understand. Why would our own media be asking about, how many times are they going to ask about Joe Milton? The same people I'm hearing ask about Joe Milton, and in this press conference, I'm hearing them in every press conference. Joe Milton. How many times are you going to ask that question? What are you expecting? What are they expecting Brian Schottenheimer to say? Yeah, man, Joe Milton, yeah, he's not really that good. Yeah, he's got a long way to go. Yeah, Will Greer, he's probably not going to be the backup. It'll probably be Will Greer. He's just a project. We got him on the back. What do you expect Brian Schottenheimer to say? You wanted him to slip up and say something that you can hang on to, and then you go out there with these same headlines they're already doing. High praise for Joe Milton. Explain to me, what other team is out there posting high praise for the backup quarterback? Stop it. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And I'm gonna keep it 100% real, Louise. Louise said, "Why can't you boost Milton the same way you were trying to boost Guyton when it's supposed to be a competitive environment?" Louise, I got news for you. I said this earlier. There are 3 players on this team. I hate to be the bearer. I don't know if it's bad news. Louise, there are 3 players on this team. And matter of fact, I'm going to move it to 4. And I may even move it to 5. There are 5 players, Louise, on this team that there is no competition. There is no competition, Louise. 5 positions on this team where there is no competition. The kicker, Brandon Aubrey. There is no competition. We're not bringing in anybody to compete with Brandon Aubrey. We know where Brandon Aubrey is. We're not bringing in competition for Brandon Aubrey. I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. I hope it don't make some folk mad. But there is no competition for Brandon Aubrey. Yeah, there's a competitive environment for everyone else. Jimmy Johnson will tell you this. Jimmy Johnson would find people to cut on the team. But Jimmy would also tell you, you know who we're not cutting? We're not cutting Troy Aikman. We're not cutting Emmitt Smith. We're not cutting Michael Irvin. We're not cutting Nate Newton. You can keep filling in the blank. There are certain players, they are untouchable, and we're not cutting them, and there is no competition. And that's the facts. Love it, like it, or hate it. Brandon Aubrey. There is no competition. No, we're not creating competition for Brandon Aubrey. We're not creating competition for Osa Odigizua. The moment we signed Osa Odigizua to that contract, there is no more competition for Osa Odigizua. CeeDee Lamb. There is no competition for CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens will help CeeDee Lamb to be better, but he's not competing with CeeDee Lamb. As much as I like George Pickens, let me say it out loud. Somebody need to say the quiet part out loud. CeeDee Lamb is better than George Pickens. He's not the competition. He'll help him to be better, but he's not the competition. Micah Parsons. He's not at OTAs. Let's say the quiet part out loud. There is no competition for Micah Parsons. I don't know if that's going to make somebody mad or glad, but there are players on your team. There is no competition. Micah Parsons is about to sign a $147 million deal. And I'm talking about the guaranteed money. There is no competition, Louise. There is no competition for Micah Parsons. Will Donovan Ezeraku, will Dante Fowler, will they maybe motivate Micah Parsons? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they will. Their play will be good. But as far as Micah Parsons, nah, there is no competition. And finally, last but not least, there is no competition for Dak Prescott. There is none. There is no competition for Dak Prescott on this team. None. We have 231 million reasons why there's no competition for Dak Prescott. Do I want Joe Milton to make great throws? Why wouldn't I? Do I want Joe Milton to do some amazing things? Yeah, why wouldn't I? Do I want Joe Milton to be the quarterback? There is no way. Because I already know Joe Milton isn't ready to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. There is no way. Because we don't use logic. If Joe Milton was ready to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, then the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns, the Tennessee Titans, the New York Giants, the New Orleans Saints, they would have been beating the door down for New England. A third-round pick for Joe Milton, we'll take it. His contract, third-round draft pick, we'll take it. We don't use logic, man. I'm just telling us. We don't use logic. It just goes to show us how we really feel. Some of us really feel about the quarterback we have. We feel so low. We feel like the quarterback we have, who has been one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league when he's not hurt. We think so little of him. We thought Cooper Rush could take his spot. We thought Trey Lance could take his spot. And now we think Joe Milton can take his spot. I'm sorry. You can tell me anything you want to. This type of talk in Dallas, you got to stay away from it. We're the only team I know that can bring a backup quarterback in. And every time the quarterback comes in, yeah, man. Yeah, boy, Dak better not get hurt. Boy, he get on that field, he ain't never coming off. Dak going out like Tony Romo. No, we're not talking bad about the QB2. The problem is we talk so good about the QB2, no matter who he is. It is not about Joe Milton III. They could have brought in Timbuktu. They could have brought in little Johnny Walker. I mean, the Cowboys could have brought in anybody, and people would be saying, how's the backup quarterback doing? High praise. Dak Prescott better. I don't care who they would have brought in. This isn't about Joe Milton. This is about the Dallas Cowboys fan base and media. Always more attention on the number 2 quarterback than the number 1 quarterback. It's just silliness. Alex says, we have the best fans, but also some of the worst. Yes, sir. He said, I see it on X all the time where they just hate on everything the Cowboys do, and especially on Dak. I'm telling you, anybody who is on social media, they'll tell you this. Appreciate that super chat, Alex. Yes. And Sexy Suze is exactly right. Brian needs to choose his words very carefully. Choose your words carefully. Because this media, they're not asking innocent questions. How many Joe Milton questions are you going to get, man? They're asking the same question. Meanwhile, your quarterback is back from an injury that people were saying that he wasn't even going to be in OTAs, was not going to be in training camp, wasn't even going to be ready by the beginning of the season. He's in training camp. He's playing great in training camp. He's doing everything and more than anybody expected. But all we can ask is, hey, how's Joe Milton? And then when they ask about Dak, it isn't as much as how he's doing, playing. How about the injury? This stuff is dangerous. And Brian, hey, he knows more than I do. He's the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. But I think he needs to be very careful about saying some of this stuff because this Dallas fan base is toxic. Some of it is very toxic. And it don't take this stuff and go, yeah, it's good. Joe Milton's doing good. Okay, on to the next story. No. You heard what they said about Joe Milton? I'm just telling you, man. I'm just telling you. That go down, it's over. Stop it.
As Cowboys, got a couple
right there on that.
DLLS.
Wow.
Got a couple of questions. Piggybacking on the tweaking things with Dak. Is the cadence the same? Still doing here we go? What are you changing with the offense in that respect?
I'm not going to tell you about the cadence, but the biggest thing with the cadence I will tell you is getting a guy like Joe, and now you got new linemen, you got Booker, you got Rob Jones, you got guys like that, is getting all the quarterbacks to kind of sound the same. And that sounds like, oh, that's pretty obvious, that's pretty simple, but it's the guys that are the backups that have to learn to make their cadence sound like Dak's. So that's kind of one of the things that you do work on in terms of the cadence and what we say and things like that. Maybe you guys will hear it today, maybe you won't. I don't know.
Yeah, so we're not doing here we go. Secondly, is Micah here? I know he was here.
Now, the here we go cadence, I guess we're going to have to change this.
Here we go.
That cadence right there, let me tell you something. That cadence is epic. Aaron Rodgers loved that cadence. I think he did like a variation of it. I guess maybe back in the day, Aaron Rodgers absolutely loved it. Cam Newton, he absolutely loved it, even though he said his cadence was better than that. But these guys, man, this cadence thing is a very big deal. It's a very big deal. And I'll be very interested to see trying to make these guys' cadence sound alike, because I can tell you this, Dak's Here We Go didn't sound like Cooper Rush's Here We Go. It didn't sound the same. But this cadence thing, is minor as we may think it is, man, this cadence thing is obviously a huge, huge deal. It's a huge deal. So I'm very interested to see what that cadence feel like. Tuck, I appreciate your comment again. Dak does not need to feel comfortable. Why not? So is that you saying that? Why not? Why does he not need to feel comfortable? Explain to me what would be the negative of Dak Prescott feeling comfortable? Why? Why? Because you said that? And I respect what you're saying, but I'm just asking you. Why? Who made that rule? Who made that rule? That the quarterback shouldn't feel comfortable. Really? You don't think Dak feels comfortable? With $231 million, you don't think he feels comfortable? I think he does. I think he does from that perspective. I think he does from the perspective he knows that no matter what Joe Milton does, Joe Milton is not taking the spot. He needs to understand results matter. So wait a minute. So you think Dak Prescott got $231 million by not knowing results matter? Is that what you're saying? I like how you're saying Dak needs to understand results matter, Tuck. How about this team understand results matter? How about the team understands that? Because this team seems to only think that the results of Dak Prescott matter. No, the results matter for the whole team. But just because Dak Prescott is comfortable, so you don't think that Dak understands results matter. What would make you, and again, when we say stuff like this, and again, Tuck, this is not about you. Because other people say this stuff too. So Dak does not need to feel comfortable. Why not? I'm just asking, why not? Why does he not need to feel comfortable? What is the benefit of your quarterback not feeling comfortable? What's the benefit? Explain that to me. So you're telling me you want your quarterback playing every single week thinking, man, if I don't do good this week, my job is in jeopardy. This isn't college. This isn't high school. This is the pros. That's not what we do in the pros. I mean, I know that's what we would want to happen. No, that's not quite what we do in the pros. Actually, we do want our quarterback to feel comfortable. We want him to be fully confident. Hey, you're the starting quarterback here. You do know that, right? And especially when we give you a 4-year deal, extension for $231 million, you already understand results matter. Because if you wouldn't actually get the money if you didn't know results matter. Do we not understand that you actually get the money based on the results? You get the money based on the results and the potential of you doing what you've been doing. And then the team's responsibility is to put players around you so that you and the team can do it together, and then you and the team win a championship, rather than us saying things, because this reeks of, to me, when we make these type of comments, he needs to understand results matter. What kind of results? So you're talking about the playoff losses where Dak Prescott played defensive line, cornerback, linebacker, safety, running back, offensive line, wide receiver. Dak Prescott played tight end. So you're talking about those games. That Dak plays by himself, he ought to realize his results matter. What make you think he doesn't think results matter? It was Dak Prescott himself who said he wants to prove he's worth the money. You don't think he knows results matter? Dak Prescott said he knows that if you win a Super Bowl in Dallas, what that means. So you assume that he thinks that he believes that results don't matter. Competition is healthy. Yeah, in some respects, yeah. When there's somebody that can actually compete. But Joe Milton is no competition for Dak Prescott. That's the other part that people assume. He's no competition for Dak Prescott. Because if he was competition for Dak Prescott, I'm going back to my original premise. Then the Tennessee Titans are foolish for getting Cam Ward. Because Joe Milton is better than Cam Ward. If Joe Milton is better than Dak Prescott, Joe Milton is better than Cam Ward. Cleveland is dumb for drafting the quarterbacks that they drafted. Because Joe Milton is better than Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. They're dumb. any team that drafted a quarterback in this draft, if Joe Milton is better than Dak Prescott, they're dumb. They're dumb for drafting a quarterback when there was right there in your face before the draft. I'm talking way before the Cowboys got him. The New England Patriots were dangling that third-round draft pick out there after they fired their coach. Everyone knew he was out there. If they passed on Joe Milton, who can possibly be better than Dak Prescott, every team in the draft that drafted a quarterback to be their quarterback, they're dumb. Hold on a second. But we're smart. Because we saw something in Trey Lance that nobody else saw. We see something in Joe Milton that no one else sees. And so Joe Milton is going to come in here and take the place of a second-team All-Pro, MVP robbed, MVP runner-up quarterback in Dak Prescott. If Joe Milton can do that, every team in this league is dumb. They're dumb. Dumb. And I don't think we use this type of logic. Every team is dumb. And if Joe Milton is as good as I'm telling us, the people who hate Dak Prescott literally think this guy is that good. Joe Milton, man, shoo. Boy, you just don't know. Joe Milton, he should have been starting. He should have, yeah, 6th round. Yeah, 6-year quarterback, 1-year starter. Yeah, I'm not saying anything bad about Joe Milton. I'm speaking the facts about Joe Milton. And people get mad when you speak the facts. And no matter how bad or how Dak has fell short, Joe's still not better than Dak. Joe's still not better than Dak. And if he is better than Dak, every team in this league is dumb. They're dumb for not getting this guy. Reginald Jackson. Reginald Jackson. Reginald Jackson just asked a great question. And I want to go back to something that Tuck said, not picking on Tuck, but everybody is already assuming this. Reginald Jackson said, why aren't they talking about Greer? Can somebody tell me when did somebody say that Joe Milton was officially the second? QB2. Tuck acknowledged him as QB2. Is he QB2? I haven't heard he's QB2. Has anybody heard that Joe Milton won the job and he's QB2? I'm not sure. I haven't heard anybody say he's QB2. See, we're already making those assumptions. That tells me everything I need to know. This man hasn't even beat out Will Greer. But we've already assumed he's QB2. We got to stop this stuff. I'm just saying, we have to stop this stuff, man. It's a part of this toxicity. It's a part of this toxicity. And I'm sorry, I just hate to be the bearer of bad news. No, there's nothing wrong with your quarterback feeling comfortable. There's nothing wrong with it. Let me give an example, then we're going to move back into Brian Schottenheimer. His name is slipping me right now, and that's why I got to look this up. Let me go to this real quick. Do y'all remember this quarterback right here? Anybody remember Jimmy G? Anybody remember Jimmy Garoppolo? Jimmy Garoppolo rolls up into New England. Jimmy Garoppolo plays a couple of games in Tom Brady's absence. And I think Bill Belichick had a grand idea that he was going to kind of move Tom Brady out and let Jimmy G be the quarterback. Do y'all remember what Tom Brady did? At least is what they're saying he did. Tom Brady went to the owner. What happened to Jimmy G? Was Jimmy G good competition for Tom Brady, who actually, after Jimmy G, went on and continued to win Super Bowls? I don't agree with that comment. I do think you need to have a good backup. I do think you need to have a backup that's capable of starting some games. But if your backup is better than your starting quarterback, you're dumb. You're dumb if your backup is better than your starter. No, if your backup is better than your starter, your backup needs to be your starter. Ray Ross, what's going on? He said G upset shot. He said Milton before Greer. Not really. Where I am is I've already been reading these headlines on Joe Milton III. And I'm already preparing myself, Ray Royce. I'm already preparing myself. Every time Joe Milton makes a great throw in training camp, we're going to hear about it. We're going to hear about it. Now, Tuck, this statement I do agree with. Iron sharpens iron. I do agree with that comment. That has nothing to do with the starting quarterback being comfortable. That has nothing to do with that. Iron sharpens iron isn't an uncomfortable statement. Iron sharpens iron is more of a statement to say that it is good for people who are good at something to do it together because you'll make each other better. Yeah, I agree with that statement. And I think Joe Milton will push Dak Prescott to a degree because he'll make some good throws. But why does it got to be Joe Milton? Why can't it be Will Grier? Why are we not including Will Grier in the conversation? So Will Grier's not going to push Dak? Will Grier's not going to make some great throws? Will Grier's not going to make some escapes out of the pocket? Will Grier's not going to do any of those things, right? Because it's all Joe Milton. I'm telling us what we're doing it and we're not doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it and we're saying we're not doing it, but we're doing it. Why Joe Milton? Why not Will Grier? Why nobody's asking about Will Grier? Hey, man, how Will Grier doing? How's he doing? Nah, nobody wants to hear about Will Grier, do they? Because he's not the one that everybody wants to take the place of Dak Prescott. No. People are saying things. They're throwing rocks and hiding their hands. That's why they want to hear about Joe Milton. Blue Star said, preach, G, say that. He said, louder for the folks in the back. These clowns think only Dak plays for the Cowboys, but everybody else has no responsibility whatsoever. Yeah, his results are the only ones that matter. At least that's what it seems to me, because I never hear anybody else talking about why the Cowboys lose, other than Dak Prescott.
Monday last week, and then wasn't here Tuesday. And what's been his involvement with the OTAs? If he ramped up to on the field work, and is he just doing meetings on the field? What's that? Yeah,
again, like I said, voluntary right now. The camp. He was here last week. Had lunch with him. Actually bumped into him in the airport. He was going to do some traveling, so I have not seen him yet this week. But again, my big thing with all the guys, whether they're here or not, is you can get great work in, and you can get ready, and you can be mentally prepared. But whether you're Micah, who's not here, he's here in and out, whether you're Dak, doesn't really matter. It's just put your work in, get ready. There's a lot of ways to get ready and prepared, and I think the league's made it very clear that it's all voluntary.
This is a mistake. This is a mistake. And the Cowboys really need to sign this deal with Michael Parsons. This is a mistake. The Cowboys cannot go too deep down this rabbit hole with Micah Parsons. And I understand Brian Schottenheimer is saying all the right things. It's voluntary. No, it's not. Everyone knows that voluntary workouts means be here. Be here is what that means. The mandatory mini camps are quickly approaching. If he's not showing up to the voluntary stuff, is he going to show up? If he's not showing up to the voluntary stuff, will he show up to the mandatory stuff? Because that's when the rubber really gonna meet the road. I really do think that Jamar Chase might have did this right last year. I think it was Jamar Chase that they were saying he did the in-house. He did the in-house, the in-camp holdout. That you're still there, but you're maybe not participating in some of the things that could maybe injure you. But, the other part of this, what I think about guys not showing up to these voluntary workouts, because the reason why, I guess one reason they're not showing up is because of the money. But I really thought the main reason that you didn't show up to this stuff is that you didn't want to be doing some drill and then you wind up hurting yourself. Kind of like Sean Lee did one year. But the thing that's strange to me, that if you're really concerned about injuries, has anybody seen Micah Parsons work out with Myles Garrett? Man, them dudes doing some very strenuous workouts. And so for me, if injury isn't the worry, because that's what I always kind of assumed, that injury may be the issue of why somebody doesn't show up to these things. But if you out there already putting in strenuous work, jumps and throwing up weights and runs and cones and all that stuff, man, you might as well come on to camp, man. You might as well come on to camp. You could hurt yourself out there doing them workouts without the team. Man, come on to camp, man. Come on to camp, because if I'm Micah Parsons, generational talent, some people say. I'm a generational talent. I'm going to get paid either way. I'm going to get paid either way, whether it be with this team or another team. I'm going to get paid. Micah Parsons is going to get paid. I see nothing wrong with him coming. I see nothing wrong with him coming to OTAs, training camp, especially if you're already going to be working out anyway. Now, if you putting your body on some type of break, if you putting your body on a break and you saying, I don't want to get injured, okay, now I understand that part. But if you're working out like Micah Parsons is working out, man, you might as well come on to camp, man. Build up that camaraderie. And you know what, man, just really get on your agent. Man, let's get this thing done. Let's get this deal done, man. Let's get this thing behind us. I need to really be focused on football. I really need to be focused on football. I don't want to be focused on contracts and money. I need to really go out there and perform. I really do. And so if I was him, man, I really would. I mean, I don't see no reason for him not to come to camp. I really don't. Tuck, you ain't gonna move off this Dak Prescott thing, but you ain't gonna win on this, bro. If we're talking about Dak Prescott, did his contracts changing. Dak hasn't been the problem. And the reason why, Tuck, you're defeating your own argument. Because I'm sure you're one of these people, just like the rest of us, who have been saying, The Cowboys are moving different. The Cowboys did stuff in free agency. The Cowboys had a great draft. The Cowboys now they got George Pickens. They got him a run game. They're trying to put more things around him. Everybody is finally admitting that, yes, they are moving different. Everybody's finally admitting it. We're answering the question. Dak isn't the one that needed to be changed. The coaches need to be changed. The culture needed to be changed. The mentality needed to be changed. Dak didn't need to change. Dak was already putting in the work. But if you're going to send Dak Prescott in against Green Bay with only one wide receiver and no defense that couldn't stop a dripping faucet, what else is he supposed to do? And if 2 turnovers take you out in the playoffs, your team wasn't good enough to be there anyway. Now, if your quarterback throws 2 turnovers if he throws a turnover and the game is 31-30 with 5 seconds left on the clock and he throws an interception, okay, well, maybe we can blame him if the wide receiver was wide open and he just made a bad throw. I'm not giving it to a team that has 2 turnovers in the first quarter or 2 turnovers in the first half and the entire game is over. No. What did the whole game look like? What did the whole game look like? If 2 turnovers do you in the beginning part of the game, you didn't deserve to be there. Dak isn't the reason why we lost to Green Bay. Dak isn't the one that needed to be changed. If Dak was the one that needed to be changed, I got a strange feeling he would have been the one that got changed out. He wasn't the one that needed to be changed. Everyone evaluating the team said, we're paying this man because he's not the one that needs to change. The Joneses needed to change their mentality. The front office needed to change. They changed. Or at least it looks like they've changed. They're doing things different. The coach needed to be changed. They changed him. The culture. Why do we think Brian Schottenheimer keeps talking about the culture? Stop it. Stop it. Dak is not the one that needed to be changed. What needed to be changed is actually what's being changed. That's what's being changed. This isn't about Dak's feelings. Don't mistake what I'm saying for Dak Prescott. This isn't about Dak Prescott's feelings, because I promise you, Dak Prescott is not listening to you nor me, Tuck. Because Dak Prescott, contrary to what you're saying, he is comfortable. He is comfortable in who he is. And I want my quarterback to be that confident. You're our starter. You're the leader of this team. And I want you to know that. And when I bring in Joe Milton, I'm saying it. Joe Milton's your backup. Joe Milton's your backup. Can you get him ready in case of an emergency? But Dak Prescott, this is your team. What's wrong with that? You don't think that's how Josh Allen feels? You don't think that's how Lamar Jackson feels? What are we talking about? Patrick Mahomes, you don't think that's how he feels? Why wouldn't you want your quarterback feeling like that? We don't need Joe Milton. I'm sorry, I don't care what anyone says. We don't need Joe Milton to push Dak Prescott over the hump. Joe Milton isn't the key. He's the backup quarterback. He is not what we needed to push Dak. Dak has already been performing at a high level. The playoffs is where this team fails, not Dak Prescott. The playoffs is where this team failed. What we needed was better players on this team, doggone it. I don't understand. We're making these crazy arguments. We're arguing actually with ourselves. We're all saying the Cowboys have done all these great things. These things are going to help Dak Prescott. Why would they help Dak Prescott? Because we were not helping Dak Prescott with the things we were doing. The front office was not helping him. You take a play-action quarterback and you take away the run. Why would you take away the run from a play-action quarterback? Why would you do that? Why would you force your defenses to play deficient? No linebackers. Can't stop the run. The Cowboys did that, not Dak Prescott. You don't need Joe Milton to push Dak Prescott. What are we talking about? That's crazy talk. Dak Prescott got 231 million reasons of why he wants to win the Super Bowl. And it's not Joe Milton. It is not Joe Milton. Where Joe Milton, the only thing, you know who Dak Prescott is battling? Tony Romo said it. This is a meritocracy. It is not Dak Prescott's performance that's been the problem. Dak Prescott isn't battling Joe Milton. I hate to be the bearer of bad news for Dak Prescott haters. Dak isn't battling Joe Milton. The only person Dak is battling is himself. And when you're good at something, you can tell me iron sharpens iron all you want to. If I'm good at something, the only way they sharpen me is by them being good at what they do too. They don't necessarily sharpen me by being better than me. Because if they're better than me, they're just better than me. But if they're good at what they do, and I'm good at what I do, they're going to make me better and I'm going to make them better. But when it comes to being the best, you got to also understand who you are too. And if I'm better than you, you can love it, like it, or hate it. I'm better than you. You don't have to accept it, but I'm better than you. And so the real competition for Dak Prescott, it's not anybody else. Tony Romo said it best. You are your competition. And that's why I'm glad we have the quarterback that we have, because you have to be resilient to withstand some of this type of stuff. You have to be resilient. You do. And I appreciate Dak Prescott for that.
Todd, before you go, can we adjust the lighting?
Last question I'm going to answer. Last thing I'm going to say about Dak Prescott.
Better now? You guys are scary. It's a big group today, man. Dang, I didn't think it was this crowded today.
White sheet of paper real quick. Huh? Give me 2 seconds.
This can't be real.
But again, this thing with Michael Parsons, I really do think the Cowboys are making a mistake.
This is high-tech stuff, huh?
I really do think the Cowboys are making a mistake on this. I do believe the Cowboys need to go ahead and pay Michael Parsons. I really do. And the only reason why I'm saying it, and it's not the only reason why I'm saying it, but what I am saying is this. If you know you're going to pay the man, pay the man. Pay the man. Get him in training camp. I'll just tell you like this. I think training camp is better with Michael Parsons there. This is the thing that to me, Jerry made a huge mistake on last year. He didn't have to worry about Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott was going to risk it all anyway, because Dak Prescott loves the game. He loves the Dallas Cowboys, and people don't understand when the man is saying that he doesn't play for money. Man, when you're good at something, you're not doing it for the money, because the money comes with it. Period in the story. When I say I'm not playing for the money, I'm not saying I play for free. I'm saying that my performance is going to bring the money, so I'm not worried about that. So Dak was coming. But it really hurt CeeDee Lamb not being in training camp last year. It really hurt CeeDee Lamb. And I think it was one of the things that also set this offense back. Because I don't care if it's OTAs. If you're running plays, you're running plays. And the people who you're running those plays with, they need to be on the field with you. They need to be on the field with you. And OTAs, I'm telling you, they are a big deal. They are a big deal, especially when you got a brand new coach, brand new coaches, brand new players, brand new schemes. Man, Micah Parsons needs to be there. And I'm telling us, Jerry and these guys really need to get Micah in. They really need to get Micah in. They do. These are the types of things, and I understand how Brian is taking it. And Brian is taking it. But I also see what he's saying on the back end. Yeah, but they're voluntary, but he needs to be here. He can't say it, but he's saying it without saying it. Yeah, he needs to be here. Micah Parsons needs to be here. He absolutely needs to be here. The Cowboys need to get that deal done sooner than later. Because, and another thing you don't want to keep dealing with, they're going to keep asking this question about Micah Parsons being in OTAs. Man, we don't want to hear this. He ain't here. You want to say he ain't here, so we don't want to talk about it. And you say certain things, and people may say, oh, he's saying this about Michael and blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying, man, get this deal done. This will be the one thing. I mean, this will really get this team totally focused on what they need to be focused on, and that is football. And they've done a good job of not making the contract a big, not making the contract a big focus. Jerry hasn't been doing a lot of talking about it. Steven hasn't been doing a lot of talking about it out there in the press. They're actually not doing what they usually do. They normally take these contracts out into the court of public opinion, and they are out there fighting on these things, man. They're fighting on these things. They really haven't been fighting on it. It's like they're all pretty resolved of wherever they're standing, that's where they're standing. But I think this is a mistake. And I even say it's a mistake on Micah Parsons' part. I do think that there should be a certain point. There should be a certain point that you get to in that contract negotiation to where you say, okay, this is where I'm going to not show up. But these OTAs, with the workouts I've seen Micah Parsons doing, these OTAs ain't going to do nothing to hurt him. I mean, just think about this, man. You see a player on your team in the doggone airport, and you talking. I mean, you in OTAs, you see him, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to travel. Man, we in OTAs. What you doing? It's crazy to me. David J., appreciate that super chat. David J. says, you can't fix stupid. People will always hate Dak. He could win the MVP, the Super Bowl, be Super Bowl MVP, and they say, big deal, do it again. Man, let me tell you something, David J. As much as I hate to say it ain't true, man, let me tell you something. I teach on this stuff all the time, David J. I teach on this stuff all the time. The one thing you don't want to do is get into the vicious trap of trying to prove yourself to people. Because when you try to prove yourself to people, you're going to find out something very quickly. The more you prove, the more they'll want to see. The more you prove, the more they'll want to see. The more you prove, they'll make every excuse of why it wasn't you. They'll make every excuse. And that's why you don't get into the prove it business. Don't get in that business. Don't get in that business. You do what you need to do. But don't get in that business. Don't try to prove things to people. Because if they don't like you, they'll make every excuse when you succeed. And when you fail, you'll be the sole reason why. But if they like you, they make every excuse for you. And when you fail, they make every excuse for you. Yeah, it's no point in even getting to that because you're right, David J. It don't matter what Dak do at this point. People will still say, now, those of us who like Dak, we won't even be tripping on it. We'll be saying we already knew he could do it. But those who don't like Dak, they'll be saying the same thing. Big Dal 8604, he said, we still have holes. Big Dal. See, I've already seen people saying stuff like, Yeah, he has no more excuses. Why is it he doesn't have any more excuses? No, this team needs more. I said this last night, and I've been saying it. You got to go back and look at the model of the 90s Cowboys. Do we realize that the 90s Cowboys, when you look at the team that we have right now, the 90s Cowboys would have said, this is not enough. The 90s Cowboys would have said, this ain't enough. George Pickens, the Cowboys in the 90s, they went and got Alvin Harper, number 12 overall, 1991. The Dallas Cowboys went and got in 1990 Emmitt Smith and I think it was Nate Newton. The Dallas Cowboys continued to get players. And no matter what they had, you know what they kept saying? It's not enough. They went and got Charles Haley. And that's when they kind of got to the point of, okay, we might have enough now. We might have enough, Dal 8604. We might have enough now. When you're going for a championship run, and I hope, and I don't believe the Cowboys are thinking like some people, and I'm glad the Cowboys front office are not thinking like some people. Coyote, you're on it. You're on it too. No defensive tackle in the below average run game. We don't even know what our run game is going to be. We don't even know what our run game is going to be. And we have to understand, we got to stop thinking that George Pickens is the end all to be all. Does he change things? Yeah. Will he be the difference in maybe 2 or 3 games? Yeah. Will he be the difference in a playoff game? Maybe. Yeah. We're not talking about playoffs. If we're talking about Super Bowl, we got a lot more work to do. Because you're talking about, I've already showed y'all this history and stats. Man, you're talking about a coach, rookie year, brand new coaches, their rookie year. I mean, you're talking about so many things. And if you're talking about those things, I got news for you. We got to do some more. We have to do some more. We have to do some more. We can't stop till we get enough. We got to get some more. If we're talking playoffs, we're fine with Oso Diggy Zua. If we're talking playoffs, I'm telling y'all right now, we're fine with Oso Diggy Zua. Y'all, we, them, talking Super Bowl, we need another one tech. And I'm not talking about a backup. We need a starter. Somebody that'll be a rotational piece. We need to be talking about getting another cornerback. We even need to be saying, is this run game enough? Is this run game enough? I mean, and I'm not talking about Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa because they're all part of my plan. But I'm looking now saying, okay, we got 2 veterans. We got Javonte Williams and we got Miles Sanders. And Deuce Vaughn, but I don't think he's going to be a part of the plan. If we talking Super Bowl, I want to know who's the best running back available right now. I want to know who that is. I'm going to make it my business to know who is the best running back available after June 1st. I want to know who it is. And I'm going to be looking all the way to the preseason. We ain't talking playoffs no more. We ain't talking about Jim Moore playoffs. We ain't talking about playoffs. If y'all talking and we talking and they talking Super Bowl, they got a lot more work to do. They've done some good jobs. They've done a good job what they've done so far. But when you talk about Super Bowl, it's not enough. Excuse me. It's not enough. George Pickens isn't enough. George Pickens will be the difference in some games. He might even be the difference in a playoff game. Super Bowl? Nah, you're going to need some more. Man, you talking about the world championship. You need more. And we got to stop putting this, and that's why we got to stop putting this on Dak. This has been and always have been on the Joneses. This is on the Joneses. They got to go out there and continue to say, don't stop till you get enough. That's what Michael Jackson said. Don't stop till you get enough. Howie Roseman subscribes to that too. Howie Roseman, they would have had a good team last year without Saquon Barkley. They said, no, we don't need a good team. We don't need a great team. We need a super team. Stephen Jones said his goal is to build the best roster in the NFL. Well, they got to do some more. They have to do some more. The job ain't done yet. They have to do some more.
Right balance.
Good.
There we go. You guys want to start over?
There we go. There we go.
Mike is not here today. I know he's traveling somewhere. The cadence may or may not be the same. We're off to a hell of a start.
Todd.
Here you go. This is going to be like this one. Todd Archer with ESPN. Fans ask us questions about things that we don't truly know the answer to, and you and the visor. What is the visor, and is it like a ode to Spurrier, or what's the deal with the visor?
It actually is a little bit of a ode to Coach Spurrier. So for you guys that don't know, 96 national champs, Florida Gators. When I went.
Now, he talking about that visor with Spurrier, but I really want y'all to pay attention to this man's hair because now I can't get it out of my mind because Daniel Ibbs said that this man is a spokesperson for Just For Me. He said he's a spokesperson for Just For Me. Daniel Ibbs, boy, let me tell you something. Man, this dude hair looking extra brown today, boy. my man Shotty hair looking extra brown and crispy today. I think he got that. I think he got it freshly, as we used to say back in the day. I think he got it freshly fried, dyed, and laid to the side, man. Yeah, I think he got it fresh today. He got that salt and pepper look in the beard, but he got that Just For Me on the top. So I guess that goes along with the visor they're asking him about.
Went down there. I transferred from the University of Kansas, and the reason I went to Florida was I wanted to kind of learn about offense. And at the time, he had just started the Fun and Gun. He'd come from Duke to Florida, and so I wanted to get down there and kind of learn from him. He was great. He actually gave me the opportunity to wear a headset on game days. I had to sit out for a year with the old transfer rules. But he told me that if I went there, that he'd let me wear a headset and be involved and be the signal caller, which was great. What I didn't realize was that what that also entailed was anytime he threw his visor, which was probably 5 to 7 times a game, I was responsible for picking it up. And I can truly, this is a true story.
Reality Cowboy, you're in reality. I like it.
Signaling plays and something happens. He's mad. He's pissed off at Danny. Throws his visor. And for some reason, I was caught up in something. I didn't go pick it up. And he literally looks at me. He's like, I was like, oh, shit. So I went and I picked it up. And he's like, so honestly, that's where I first noticed it. I think I look better in a visor than a hat. I mean, just I'm losing my hair a little bit, at least up front. But it does go back to Florida.
And then another one, I talked to a couple of first-year head coaches in the last few years, and they said the people that they rely on most are game management type guys to really help them understand situations and things. And I'm wondering how much you will lean on Ryan Feeder as you go through your first year.
That's a great question, and the answer is absolutely. Feeds is just a trusted advisor. I think he does it as well as anybody in the business. You need, on game day, you need one voice that you're hearing, because obviously these things happen at critical, intense moments and things like that. And so to have that one voice be someone that you have complete confidence in and complete trust in really does matter. He and I spend, hours just talking about different situations. It's been cool having Falus here because that's another perspective of a guy that's been a head coach, and it's been kind of fun for us as we start the process of game management to just talk about the different ways you look at situations. And we actually just had our first component of it in the team meeting today.
John Schottenheimer with The Athletic with
Okay. I had to look this up for a moment. Okay, this I don't know if you guys are paying attention to what they're saying. This is something that I hadn't heard before. So he's talking about a guy by the name of Ryan Fetter. Ryan Fetter is a game management coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. I never heard of this before. Game management advisor. I'm not familiar with this. Very interesting. He's a young guy, too. He's the game management advisor. And so, y'all tell me in the chat if y'all have heard of this before. He is obviously I guess he kind of takes them through situational football and things of that nature. This dude is young doing this. But yeah, this is his I saw his profile on LinkedIn. And so this is very interesting because what I'm wondering is, because we've talked about how Mike McCarthy was such a poor game manager. Mike McCarthy, it seemed like sometimes he lost track of the clock, or he didn't understand the situation he was in on the field. I mean, making very ill-advised decisions. And so I wonder if this is where this guy comes in, and I wonder if Mike McCarthy had this guy. Game management coordinator Ryan Fetter. Okay, I'm going to have to do some more research on Mr. Ryan Fetter. Very interesting. Very interesting. Young guy, too. And the reason why I'm a little bit surprised that this is a young guy, because if I was thinking about a game management coordinator, I would be thinking about somebody that's been in the game for a long time, has seen a lot and blah, blah, blah. But he's a young kid, young guy. Very, very interesting on that part. All right, let's see here. Mo Money Mayfield, appreciate the super chat. Mo Money says, I know Dak good. His haters literally depend on him and nobody else to win us games. That's greatness when you think about it. Dak or bust. Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy. I don't even think people sometimes hear themselves, Mo Money, because that's really been the issue. And when you have that mentality, how does that make you perform? When you say Dak or bust, or it's all on Dak, and when even your owner is saying we only go as far as Dak take us, that statement can really bring some animosity. Because then if you've put in my mind we only go as far as Dak takes us, and then we wind up losing, then I say, well, Dak didn't take us. And now I got animosity. And it doesn't force me to look at myself and go, what part did I play in this? I mean, why did we lose that game? What didn't I do well? No, I get to point the finger. And then when everybody's talking about Dak, well, I'm not defending him, because if I defend him, then they're going to hate on me. I didn't do anything wrong. It was all on Dak. That's a bad mentality. And I'm hoping that Brian Schottenheimer, and I think that's one of the things he's working on, is getting that type of thought process out of here. This entire team, because you hear that same sentiment in the voices of many. What has Dak done? You see people, what has he done to get $60 million? And what has he done for this and blah, 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 this. You can hear those same sentiments because they put it all on Dak. The responsibility needs to be on the entire team. The entire team. We got to get that mentality in our minds. We do. My man D Block, what's going on? He said, you right, G. Not enough. Don't stop till you get enough. Don't stop till you get enough. We don't have enough, D Block. We don't have enough. And if we're really talking championship, we got to get more. We do. We got to get more. CW, he said, we discussed our team success earlier. Run the ball, stop the run, make plays, control the clock, win in the trenches. Yeah, and if you're going to win, we got to make sure Guyton is on point. Got to make sure Guyton is on point. And we need to solve this issue. We're not calling it an Oso Digizua. I mean, we're not calling it a Mazi Smith issue, but it is a Mazi Smith issue. It is. And there's nothing wrong with that. Mazi Smith, we need to really make sure what he is. And we don't want to take the chance of him not being what we want him to be. Go get a one tech. DJ Reader. I'm excited. I want to see what happens after Sunday. Daniel Lim said, that's why I said DJ Reader and Jalen Ramsey need to be Dallas Cowboys targets if they ever want to get over the hump. And again, Daniel Lim, if you can, get those two. And then let's see what the camp looks like. See what camp looks like. See what camp looks like. See what preseason looks like. And once we can find and figure that out, then we ready to go. Then we ready to go. But we gotta keep that understanding that we still need more work. We gotta keep that understanding. We still need more work. Oh, just for men. Q-Town call it. Okay, that's what Daniel Lim called it, just for men. Yeah, he got that just for men working. Yeah, he got that just for men working, boy. Yeah, more money. That's another thing we got to fix. How many rushing yards we averaging those playoff losses since Dak plays running back too? Yeah, and this is some of the things I'm happy they're addressing. They're addressing some of these things. And I like the running back room we have. I'm excited about Phil Maffa, and I'm excited about Jaden Blue. If Javonte Williams is back the way he says he is, Javonte Williams is going to have some success with the Cowboys. But if I'm the Cowboys, I got these two rookies. If I could get somebody better than Javonte Williams, if they're available, I'm getting them. I'm getting them. And bringing along the young guys. I would love to have a three-headed monster running back room, all of them for different types of situations. I would absolutely love it. Angie in the crib, what's going on, Angie? I would absolutely love for the Cowboys to just continue, just get as good as you can. Just get as good as you can. If you really want that chip, you got to get as good as you can. There he is, the Wolf King. What's going on? He said, what do you think about our best defensive, who do you think our best defensive tackle will be this season? Wolf King, I'm hoping that he's not, well, let me say this differently. I think our best defensive tackle, if we're not talking about one tech, I think Oso Digizua takes another step. Everybody's talking about Mozzie Smith. I think Oso Digizua is going to take another step. I don't think we've seen the best in Oso Digizua. I think Oso Digizua is going to take a huge step. Because for some guys, you know, I don't know why sometimes people think when somebody gets money, they think different. Like, I got my money now, you know, I don't have to do A, B, or C. But some people, the money motivates them because they already thought they were worth the money. If you think you're worth the money, your play only gets better because it wasn't the money you were playing for in the first place. The money is just what validates in the eyes of people, in a sense, what you already knew about yourself. I think Oso Digizua going to take another step. I do. Hey, Wolf King, I think it's Oso Digizua. I think Oso Digizua. And I'm not even saying that because I don't think Mozzie's going to take another step. No, I just think Osa going to take another step. I think Osa going to take another step. I do. I think Osa going to take another step. And if Osa takes another step, man, ooh-wee. If Osa takes another step, we're going to be ferocious.
George Pickens, has there been any moments out on the field where maybe there's something that he did that stood out to you where you're like, damn, like maybe one-handed catch, something like that?
I think, number one, he's doing an incredible job picking up the system. I talked about his intentionality last week, I believe, just how hard he's working. But there was a play, and it really wasn't anything George did. But we're in the red zone, and we're in kind of a spread formation. We hit him for a touchdown. Joe did on a little a bender, like a little skinny post, down in the low red zone. And CD was on the other side, and when CD broke out and he looked back to see where the ball went and he saw George in the end zone, he kind of dragged his toes up. CD was like, yes. So I think his excitement for knowing that we've added some pieces which will add to the competition, it was cool to see a guy like CD be excited. And those two guys' relationship is awesome. I'm sure you guys have probably done stories on it, but they're spending a lot of time together. I think it's great for CD to have someone like George, not that George is a young player, but someone that GP really looks up to in CD. They obviously have trained some together, but that relationship's really cool. And I'm enjoying kind of just sitting back and watching it develop, and the two of them getting together and spending time with Junior Adams. And it's been really cool and fun for me to watch just how it all is beginning to fit together.
I'm telling you now, George Pickens, I really want us to understand why this thing with George Pickens is so good for the Cowboys. George Pickens is a different type of wide receiver than CeeDee Lamb. They're so different. And they complement each other so well. A boundary wide receiver versus a between the hash wide receiver. It is a match made in football heaven. This is why Alvin Harper and Michael Irvin, they work so well together. Michael Irvin even mentioned this. They're two different type of athletes. Mike didn't have to worry about Alvin Harper eating up his routes. He didn't have to worry about Alvin Harper eating into his game because his game was different. They knew exactly what each other were. This is why these dudes have this is why these dudes, this matchup, I really hope George Pickens, I hope everything, the maturity, I hope he really likes the team, the system, and I hope everything goes right and the Cowboys can lock him down on a contract for the next 3 years. Because this is, you don't get these opportunities a lot of times where you get two wide receivers that they are dynamic. They're, very dynamic, talented. They're number one receivers. But the reason why you won't have to worry about them clashing, because they know what each other's game is. And you think about what we were talking about earlier, iron sharpens iron. See, when you think about CD and George Pickens, they're the epitome of iron sharpens iron. There's actually no competition between them. There's no competition between CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. They're going to make each other better because they're good at what each other do. And while some of their game, they may look at a few things and pick up something here or pick up something there, but they're not the same. But they're great. And because they're great at what they do, they're going to make each other better at what they do. There is no competition. But they're looking at each other going, man, you're great. Yeah, you're great too. So let's see who can be the greatest today. Not as in competition. Boy, that catch you made, boy, that's crazy. I'm gonna make a great catch next. Hey, I gotta go out there and make a greater catch. That's what we're talking about. But not competition. These two guys fit together so well. I know full well why these guys, man, they loving this. They're loving it. They're both realizing, man, we gonna eat. They're both realizing, boy, we about to eat on teams. We're gonna eat on teams because we complement each other so well. And when you complement each other like this, it don't mean that CD not gonna get a go route. Don't mean CD not gonna get a seam route. Don't mean we're not gonna get George Pickens on an out, an in, a dig, whatever. It don't mean we're not gonna get him on a wheel. It don't mean we're not gonna get him on some of these things. But because they complement each other so well, that's why they're making each other better. It's not the competition. Some people, competition don't necessarily make you better. Doesn't necessarily make you better. But what makes you better is being around people who are good. Hey, man, I'm good, you good. Hey, I like what you do, man. I like what you do. You look at each other, you study each other, and you go, wow, man, boy, I can't do what you can do. I love the way you do it, but I can do what I can do. Let's be great at what we do. And let's keep pushing each other for greatness. Michael Irvin and Alvin Harper, they didn't have to worry about competing against each other. They complemented each other so good. So good. Poobie D in the crib got my back. Poobie D said Osa and Mozzie will both be good. And again, Mozzie, let me tell you, Mozzie I think will take a step. But I think Osa Odigizua about to go off. Man, I'm telling you, I think Osa Odigizua about to go off. Absolute off. But again, I can see why they're saying this about Lamb and Pickens. It's a great combination.
George and Dak haven't played together yet, but in your experience as a player and then as a coach, how is that relationship between a quarterback and wide receiver? Can it be natural, or is it all about you just got to get the reps in?
No, it's more than that. It's the reps are important, but there's got to be conversation. I simplify it, and probably going back to my years in New York, there's a thing called the me to you factor. It's basically if you're a receiver and I'm a quarterback, I need to have the ability where I trust you to be where you're supposed to be. So it's my job to throw you the ball, and if we're not on the same page, then you have to talk about it and have conversations and figure out why. And maybe I saw it this way and you saw it that way, but get on the same page. The next time it happens, what are we going to do? Well, hey, I want it this way. And so it's over time, and it's not just time on the field. It's not just extra reps. That's important, but it's time away from the field. It's time in the film room. It's time at dinner. I think you guys think all we do around here is eat, because all we do is we go to dinner and we have connection. But I think that's real. And so the more that there's trust, remember, when quarterbacks are playing,
yeah, I want him to finish his thought on this. I got some on
what's
this.
happening down the field. They don't have a clear window like what I'm looking at right here. There's big trees in front of them that they can't see. So you're really throwing to spots, and you're trusting people to be there. And that's where that me to you factor takes time to develop. And I think that's where we're in the process. And that's the best part of phase 3 OTAs is you can work on some of those things now and get ready to go, because when you get to training camp, then we got to be at full speed. We got to be ready to roll. And so you work through those kinks now.
This is one of the reasons why what he's saying right here. This is why Michael Parsons needs to be here. Tuck says paying Parsons is something we can both agree on. Yes, sir. We can agree on more than that. But, yeah, we can definitely agree. Jerry and Dummy playing games, just like with CD. Yeah, they really need to sign this man. Because the very thing that he's talking about right here with George Pickens and Dak Prescott, we can boil down what he said in one word: chemistry. Chemistry. Okay, we know George Pickens is talented, check. Dak Prescott's talented, check. So now what we got to work on with George Pickens and Dak Prescott is George Pickens has got to get a feel for the way Dak Prescott throws, the way he throws, and Dak Prescott's got to get a feel for, where to throw it for George Pickens, telling George Pickens where he expects him to be, what type of things can he do with George Pickens. Is one thing to see that stuff on film. It's another thing to execute it. They have to get together and execute it. And I did hear in one of the last OTAs, one of the OTA practices, where Dak was giving CeeDee Lamb quite a few of the passes, and Pickens didn't get but a couple. But again, they'll have to continue to work on that, and there'll have to be sometimes where Dak Prescott's going to have to really put that work in on George and say, all right, this practice, we got to really get George in. Got to get him involved, because they have got to get their chemistry. They have got to get their chemistry. As well as Dak got to keep his connection with CD, but he's got to get that chemistry with George Pickens. He's got to get him. Iceberg said George Pickens getting to go against number 2 cornerbacks. He's going to get that. He's going to get that bag. Boy, Iceberg, yeah. He's getting that bag, bro. He's getting that bag. I hope he get it with the Cowboys. But, man, if George Pickens really goes out here and does what we think he's going to do, man, George Pickens may actually have an opportunity to get a $30+ million contract. So, boy. I'm hoping he loves everything. I'm hoping he likes what he's getting with the Cowboys. I'm hoping he gets, I hope he likes this, what he sees with the Cowboys, to where that if there's a team where the state tax is higher, cost of living is higher, that he'll stay with the Cowboys. I don't want the Cowboys to undercut him, but I hope he considers all those things. Asiatic Pain. He says, y'all got to stop giving Mozzie so much credit. We need a definitive proven one tech from start of season. We play Philly. Asiatic Pain. Now, I think you've already heard what I said. I do think what we're saying, and I don't think there's anything wrong with what people are saying about getting that one tech. People do believe he's going to make a step. I do too. The question is, how big will that step be? How big will it be? And then what if he doesn't? What if he doesn't? And I do believe the Cowboys fan base, whether we want to admit it or not, I believe the Cowboy fan base is saying, in case he don't. And we don't want a backup. In case he don't, we want a DJ Reader. We don't want a backup. We want a starter in case Mozzie don't get it together. And if Mozzie don't, and then if he does get it together, well, now you really have what you want. Because if Mozzie gets it together, you can play him and Reader. We don't have to say, well, we're only going to play him. We're only going to play him if Mozzie ain't. No, you play both of them. Play both of them. Yeah, more money. Yes, sir. Timing. I like that. Yeah, you play both of them. Toby Beatty. Man, let me tell you something. Boy, I went back and looked at some of them comments that people were making when Mozzie Smith got drafted. Boy, it is amazing to see some of them comments, man. But there were also a lot of people saying they didn't think Mozzie. They think they reached on Mozzie. I think a lot of people saying they reached on Mozzie. Appreciate that super chat, more money. I'm sorry. More money, I already got you earlier. I think I got you earlier, didn't I? Yeah, we got that earlier. Spiral Mind, appreciate you. Spiral Mind, he said the Super Bowl champions Philadelphia Eagles have Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. Kansas City has Chris Jones, and you're counting on Mozzie 7-10. Now, Spiral Mind. And that's why I keep saying what I'm saying, Spiral Mind. I keep saying this. I'm saying the quiet part out loud. The reason why we're talking about a one tech is because even though people are saying that Mozzie going to take a step, I think people are saying, but we don't want to take a chance on him not taking a step. Because if Mozzie is good, you're really not talking about DJ Reader. No, the people are talking about another one tech because the truth is the truth. People don't believe Mozzie is there. They don't believe he's there. They don't. And they don't believe he's going to take that step. And people are saying we want that insurance. Get that insurance. DJ Reader. DJ Reader. And you can use him and Mozzie if Mozzie's balling. Use both of them. Asiatic Pain, he says CD and Pickens need to pull up in Dak's backyard for sure. And in particular, I think Pickens really does need to do it. Gene March said today Dak threw a deep ball and CD dropped it. CD dropped to the ground to do push-ups for self-punishment. Pickens came over and did it with him. That's togetherness, if I've ever seen it. Yes, sir. I love that, Gene March. I love that. Angie said, G, did you watch Overshown interview? I haven't yet, but you know I am now. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. And I hadn't even watched it, Angie. If I bet you that doggone Overshown is already talking about coming back playing. Because that joker is trying his best to get back on that field. All right, let's listen to some more Shotty.
Nick Harris, Forward Star Telegram. In constructing this new offense, how much input have you taken from not only Dak, I'd like to hear your perspective on that, but other offensive pieces, whether it be CD, George, Javonte, et cetera? Yeah,
I'll listen to anybody. I mean, this is not just a one-man show. I mean, this is, having been here for a couple of years helps. I think as we put it together, the players definitely have feedback. And, again, they're the ones that bring it to life, when you talk about some of the things that we'll implement, whether it's cut splits or shifts in motions, things like that, those are kind of philosophical beliefs that things I like and believe in, and so we'll probably do them. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to listen to a player's opinion. I might not do it, but I'm going to listen. No different than I'm going to listen to Clayton Adams or Lunda Wells. Flus on defense. I'm going to always take everybody's input, and at the end of the day, make the decisions based on what's best for helping us win a Super Bowl.
And now that the ideas have shifted onto the ground,
I'm going to say this, and I said it last night. I'm telling y'all something. This is the one thing we really ought to appreciate about Brian Schottenheimer. So many coaches are so stubborn. It's their way or no way, their system. This is how they learned it. This is how you're going to do it. You don't change, blah, 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 blah. And they'll go down in flames. They'll go down with the ship, with their system. Brian Schottenheimer isn't like that. Brian Schottenheimer keeps his eye on the league. He listens to his coaches. And if there is something that's working out there, and his team is capable of doing it, Brian will do it. Brian will do it. You got to appreciate that about a coach. Listens to his players, observes what's going on around the league, figures out if there's something they can do, they do it. Man, that's what you want. That is a selfless type of coach. That's a selfless type of coach, and I absolutely love it. My man D-Block88, I saw earlier where he said the Cowboys overreached on Mozzie Smith. He also said we've only had one Michigan draft pick that worked, Jordan Lewis, and now he gone. Poobie D said Mozzie looked like that because our linebackers are corners. Let's see if Eberflus can get the best out of him. If that's the case, the whole D-line, if that's the case, the whole D-line is bad. Man, I tell you this, I think if they get Reader, it'll really help them. I think it'll even help Mozzie take another step. CW said, Joe been a Cowboys fan since Bob Hayes won number 22. Just want to see what this year's going to be like. A lot of speculation, but team wins championships, run game, defense, control the clock. Yeah, you got to be able to control those lines of scrimmage. I said it the other day, man, trenches wins championships. Angie, she said, G, I'm his now. I love G's sense of humor. I love yours too. You be having me crack it up. Appreciate you always being supportive and being in the chat. Man, I'm telling you, gotta really appreciate this dude, Brian Schottenheimer, man. Brian, I'm telling you, man, Brian is a player's coach in a sense. He's a player's coach, but he's also a coach's coach. Man, Brian, we got to see how it's gonna play out on the field. But Brian does a lot of things right.
And you've seen it in action a few times. What would you say the building identity is of your offense so far?
It's hard because the first thing I would say is, we want to be physical. We're going to be a physical football team. We will be a physical football team, but the league has it set to where it's hard to practice that. So what I would think that you guys will see today is when you're watching practice is we're going to be an attacking unit. I think the thing I'm most proud of over the first week, I would say, of phase 3 and being on the grass and able to run plays against one another, because in phase 2 you can't, right? You're on separate fields doing separate things, is watch the effort and the intensity of everybody. When the ball is thrown from the quarterback or the runner breaks free, not only the speed that these guys are running with, but we call it the transition. So when a ball's thrown, watching the defensive lineman transition and go running, watching the skilled players cover down, watching the offensive line, like that transition is different and it's unique, and we're proud of it. I told the players today that's the standard, and the standard is the standard, and we're going to uphold that standard, and they've really been working their asses off.
Tommy
Archdice.
Yeah, appreciate that.
We saw Tyler Booker taking some first-team reps. How have you seen him kind of early on mesh with the guys in that group?
He's doing great. Again, we're creating competition. He's not taking all the ones. We're rolling different guys in there. Rob Jones, we're moving Brock around a lot, moving BB around some. But he's picked it up really, really well. The intensity that you guys saw in the introductory press conference, and that is what we see. But the best time to watch Tyler Booker is probably an individual, because if whoever he's working with holding the bags and the pads aren't doing it the right way, they get a little bit of an earful. It's kind of fun to watch. So he understands that there's a mindset and a makeup that make great offensive linemen. I think along with some of the other leaders up front, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Tyler Guyton. He's having a terrific offseason. He's working his ass off. He looks great. But Tyler Booker fits in great with what we're trying to build.
Stop.
I like how he threw Tyler Guyton in there. But Tyler Booker, I'm telling you, is a stud. Man, Tyler Booker is a stud, man. This dude's going to be crazy on the offensive line. Spiral mindset, weak defensive tackles, undersized linebackers, and stupid safeties who can't tackle. Did Brian fix all that? I don't know about weak defensive tackles. I think also Diggy and Solomon Thomas are going to be great. I just think the question is the one tech. Undersized linebackers, I think they're going to be great at linebacker, because I think that's the one position they improved more than anything with Murray Jr., Sanborn. Sanborn is a tackling machine. And then some of the guys like Justin Barron. We'd better keep our eyes open for Justin Barron. I think he's going to get some reps on this team. The safeties, I do believe. I still say that Marquise Bell is going to be the safety, one of the safeties on this team. Maybe Wanye Thomas may even win that. But I do think that Donovan, I think, may be the one that's going to be the casualty first. But, yeah, they're working. They're working. I think what they're working on right now is good. And, again, Daniel M., he talks about bringing in Jalen Ramsey. I wouldn't be surprised if they did get Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey may actually be a safety. And I think he would be a heck of a safety. But I think the Cowboys are working. I think the Cowboys are working. And, yeah, they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. They're just going to need some time to really, like he said, they're now getting on the field with the players. So we just got to get it going. Lisa said, I'm fine listening to G. See if he's going to get to a field today. Phil Maffa, I'm getting there. I'll get there today, too.
Sadi's The Athletic. Ryan, we've heard the word intentionality from you quite a few times, and even in the locker room from the players. Why is that? Is that a message that you're conveying to the players, and why is that such an important trait?
I think it's important because it takes planning. To be intentional about something, you have to sit and think, and you have to say, okay, I'm going out to practice today. Today could be for some people around the league a meaningless practice. It's OTA 4, I guess. So, okay, let's get through OTA 4, see what Shotty and the guys have for us. But the guys that truly get it, the guys that want to be great, the teams that want to be great, they have a plan of, okay, when I go out to individual today, what fundamental, what skill do I really want to work on? What is one of my weaknesses that I want to improve? And not everybody does that. But when you talk about it, and we do, we'll, in the stretch line we'll be, we're not just talking about the music that's playing. We're talking about, hey, what are you working on today? Because if they haven't thought about it, then they're going to miss an opportunity.
Angie don't look much better.
Get better or just stay the same. And so it's something that I believe makes the difference between some really very talented players that are good players and talented players that become great and elite players, because if they're focusing and working with intention on, hey, this is a weakness of mine I got to clean up or get better at, and this is what the coaches have helped me kind of identify, then to me we're wasting time, certainly in the individual periods.
As you've kind of gotten going in this offseason program, have you talked to other mentors, head coaches throughout this, or are you trying to take an organic approach and just figure things out as they go?
No, I mean, you talk to people all the time.
I see you, Ultra Cowboy.
I've been thinking about this really my whole life as a professional, what I wanted to do, but there's things that come up every day. I'm kind of like, okay, I wish my dad was still here. I'd reach out to him, but the coaches around the league, spending time with those guys at the league meetings, they were great. They've all been a first-time head coach. I think that one of the things that happens is when you build relationships like I've built over my career and tried to do things the right way, that these guys are open and willing to help, and that's great. There's guys like Bill Cowher that, is a close, family friend, was, a huge associate of my dad's. There's guys like that I can talk to, but at the end of the day, we've got some incredible people in this building that I'll lean on as well, starting with Jerry and Steven and Will. And but, yeah, I talk to other head coaches.
Appreciate the update, Angie.
Joe,
Joe White, DL Sports. Mike Zimmer near the end of last year talked about how he wished he would have really put in his full system from the beginning rather than trying to merge with what Dan Quinn had kind of had. Obviously, you've been here before, but how do you kind of balance kind of trying to maybe bridge some stuff from last season while also putting your own spin in at this point right now?
You talking offensively, or you talking about as a team? There were things. The bones of it is still very similar. You know, there's going to be changes. That's part of football. That's whether there's a coaching change or not. There's always going to be changes because you use the time to look at the cut-ups and say, hey, where do we got to go? What are the trends? Hey, what fits our system? You know, we're going to be multiple. The system's going to be built on what we do well. You know, I had to do it when I went to Seattle. You know, I understand what Zim's saying. I went to Seattle, and the system I was running out there in Seattle, you know, I kept it in place, and I probably changed 30% of it. Why? Well, they had a veteran quarterback by the name of Russell Wilson. The staff stayed, for the most part, pretty in sync. It was myself and a line coach and a QC that were new. So I was like, hey, look, I'll learn the things I need to learn, and you're always going to protect the language that the quarterbacks use, if that makes sense. So the way you solve problems at the line of scrimmage, whether that's your checks and things like that, you're always going to protect that. But I think it's a little bit where if you have to have your system, then I think, to me, just my opinion, not disagreeing with Zim, to me, your system should be flexible enough to where you adjust some things, but you keep some things in place, because it's our job as coaches we spend more time on it than the players do.
And then you talk about culture.
This statement right here was important, because this statement really, to me, reflected upon Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy was very stubborn when it came to his offense, especially in 2024. And for him, he just stayed on this West Coast, West Coast, West Coast, West Coast. And it was Mike McCarthy who said also he wished he would have implemented his system earlier. And then that's what he did in 2024, and we saw with the result of it. This is what you have to love about Brian Schottenheimer. Brian isn't stubborn. Brian ain't going. He's not going to keep hitting his head on a brick wall. Brian is going to say, if something isn't working, we're going to change it. And if there's something working in the league and people are exploiting, well, we can exploit it too, and we can customize it to be ours. But we're not going to be dumb enough not to use something that's not working. Got to appreciate this about Brian Schottenheimer.
All the time. What are your culture inspirations?
Very easy. I want to be the greatest culture in professional sports, and that's saying a lot. I get that, but you know, it's no different than sitting up here and talking about winning Super Bowls. You know, I mean, yeah. There's a standard. The standard is we want to be the best, and will we be the best culture? I don't know. We're gonna try. And will we make mistakes along the way? Absolutely. We'll make mistakes, and then we'll fix things. And but you know, like, you know, you guys asked me a couple weeks ago about GP coming in here. Like, you know, how does he fit the culture? Well, the culture's more than just one person. Yeah. You know? And so the big thing that goes into culture too, I think, is being authentic. You know, I will always be authentic. I'm never going to stand up here and pretend to be something I'm not. I think that's a recipe for disaster in this business. I've seen it. I've seen it fail. I think I shared with you, my dad said, hey, if you ever get a shot to be a head coach, one thing you should never do is change. Be yourself. And so the culture that we're building here is something that I truly believe in, and that most of these players that we have, they believe in it, or if they don't believe in it yet, hopefully them seeing my conviction makes them buy in.
Straight up shot. Straight up.
To NBC5. You were obviously here retired. Smith was at left tackle. Last year, a little bit of change here. What is your comfort level with your left tackle position? And also, can you talk about the progress for a guy like Guyton, what you've seen from his rookie year to now, and also Boston Richards?
Yeah. Again, I'll repeat it again, Dewey. I mean, like, Tyler's having a great offseason. Talk about Tyler Guyton. I have to always specify that because there's so many Tylers now. But, you know, TG, he's having a great offseason. I think some of the new things that Clayton and Connor Riley have brought from a fundamental standpoint really fits him. I think you're talking about, I'll go back for Tyler a little bit, like, you know, he hasn't played offensive line a whole lot. Then he played right tackle at Oklahoma. Then we moved him to left tackle, and it's obviously a premier position. And then he missed quite a bit of time last year in training camp. He has not missed a day. He was one of the first guys back in the building. It reminds me a ton of Jalen Tolbert, if I'm being honest with you. Jalen Tolbert, year one, you guys were all here, right?
I'm telling y'all, Lisa Worley. I'm telling y'all about Jalen Tolbert, man. I'm telling y'all about Jalen Tolbert. Shotty bringing him up he's saying, hey, Tolbert puts in work. He improves year over year.
Up and down, hey, here's a high draft pick, and didn't have a great first year. JT was one of the first guys back in the building. Well, Tyler Guyton was one of the first guys back in the building. He understands how important that this year is for him, not just for him, but for our football team. And so he looks great, and he's playing at a high level right now, going against some good speed rushers. Awesome is that guy that, he doesn't say much, but when he's out there, we have complete confidence that he's, going to play at a high level. He's got good flexibility. We are having a chance to move him around some, which is good because we're moving all of our pieces around. But I would say that I feel really good right now about our tackle position. Again, I say that with a slight pause because...
Spiral mind. Spiral mind. You ain't going to like what you just heard. Spiral mind, you were just asking about the defensive tackle position. Let me let you hear again, in case you're missing it. Let me let you hear what Brian just said.
We have complete confidence that he's, going to play at a high level. He's got good flexibility. We are having a chance to move him around some, which is good because we're moving all of our pieces around. But I would say that I feel really good right now about our tackle position. Again, I say that with a slight pause because it's May,
And he may be talking about offensive tackle,
and we can't do some of the things that we're going to do in training camp. But I would say the arrow on all those guys is trending up.
Yeah, he might have been talking about offensive tackle, but nevertheless. All right. Brian had some pretty good things to say. Pretty good things to say. I think because we got so many things going on with the Cowboys, I think what we're going to do, we're gonna come back to 105.3 on another day. These OTA questions for me. Now that we got some other things, some interviews, Angie pointed out to me, there are interviews popping up on DallasCowboys.com. So we're gonna skip to some of these articles rather than going to 105.3. And what we're going to talk about, we're going to look a little bit at Micah Parsons and then Tyler Guyton, a little bit at Phil Maffa. We'll probably skip over the OTA watch. We're going to skip over that too because I want to see if we can get to a couple of these interviews or some pieces of these interviews. So let's kind of look at this thing with Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons and the issue with OTAs. Micah Parsons not being there. We already seen where Shotty is addressing this. And I do think Shotty is trying his best to let me make sure, Wolf King, I think I got you, but let me make sure if I didn't. Appreciate that super chat. Boy, Wolf King, you crazy. Wolf King said, gee, we got to know how you feel about the Cowboys cheerleaders. Man, I'm married. I don't even check stuff out like that. Yeah, I don't check stuff out like that, but I do know they're the most popular cheerleading team in the world. Wolf King, what about you, man? How you feel about the Cowboys cheerleaders? Man. I tell you what, I was kind of laughing. I think if I'm not mistaken, Troy Aikman talked about it in the past. If I'm not mistaken, I think Troy Aikman said he dated a couple of them cheerleaders back in the day. So we know about them Cowboys cheerleaders. Ghostface Gaming in the crib. My man, what's going on with you? Good to see you. All right. So Brian has already talked about this. And he keeps talking about with this contract situation here, with this contract situation resolved, there was some thought that Parsons might skip the voluntary workouts in sort of a holdout protest while he awaits his contract. It says, but that doesn't necessarily mean the linebacker isn't present. Isn't present and accounted for. Last week, Schottenheimer said Micah has been in and out during the workouts when the media was allowed inside a recent workout. Parsons was not present. And Parsons actually isn't present. What about this week specifically? What about Thursday? The media chance to watch the workouts. Schottenheimer's in his pre-practice press briefing revealed that Micah is traveling. I bumped into him at the airport. We talked about this. He said Michael knows what's at stake. It says the first couple of days we're doing some team building things. We've spoken very openly about trying to create one of the greatest cultures in professional sports. Mike is going to be a leader for us. Michael wants to be a leader for us. I felt like it was really important for him to be here to begin that process. And again, it's voluntary camp, but the fact that he did, that means a lot to me. So we know he made last week, but he hasn't made this week if I'm not mistaken. But again, just skipping to this right here, Micah needs to be here. It says there are new teammates and coaches with whom to build chemistry, not to mention the learning of new coordinator Matt Eberflus' playbook. So it is crucial that Parsons does his part early on. Man, he needs to be here. Cowboys need to get this deal done. They really do. In and out isn't enough. Man, I don't care nothing about no volunteers. I don't care nothing about no volunteers. We all know what this means. This isn't just volunteers. It means you volunteer. I know we don't like that, but it means you volunteer. Micah needs to be here. The chemistry for this team is so important. It is so important that this team nails chemistry because, man, we playing the Philadelphia Eagles the first game of the season. Boy, we got to hit the ground running. We got to hit the ground running. We really do. We have to hit the ground running. And the way we're going to hit the ground running is we have got to get this team in sync fast. Fast. We got to get this team in sync fast because they got a lot of, with the schedule they have, boy, they got a lot to carry. A lot to carry, but they need to get him in there. Damon said Jerry going to drag Micah contract out like CeeDee Lamb. More attention to the Cowboys as usual. Just going to be breaking news on the 4-letter networks. Man, I hope he gets it done sooner than later. I really do. Lisa said, I'm starting to think it might be a chance we can get Ramsey. Well, they've already said, Lisa, that if they can get his contract a part of his contract to be taken up by Miami, they'll probably, I think there's a very good chance the Cowboys will do it. Ghostface said, I'd love to see us beat them Packers, and I'm so sick of losing games to them. So many in a row now. We haven't beat them long time or hate them 49ers and Packers. Man, you are not lying. And Mike McCarthy couldn't do it. I think it would be something monumental if Schottenheimer and his team can beat the Packers this year. I think it would go a long way. I think it go a long way towards really building up this team. I really do. I really do. Angie said, y'all leave G alone. He's a one-man show. I appreciate whatever's going on. Appreciate you. But again, I really I would like for Micah Parsons to be here. I really think the Cowboys need to really focus on getting Micah Parsons in this training camp sooner than later. They really do. But again, I won't spend much time on that. He's not here. He's not here, so there's no point in discussing it. So rather than go to Tyler Guyton, hold on, let's look at it. I'm thinking that what they're doing, based on these articles, they probably heard the Brian Schottenheimer press conference, so they're basically going to say some of the same things that we heard in the press conference. So that's why I'm kind of running through these real quick. Let me see. I'm sure that's what they're doing. Okay, it says, this is another article. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It talks about Tyler Guyton. Says Tyler Guyton gets urgency review from Coach Brian Schottenheimer. And this is exactly, they're kind of commenting on the press conference we just listened to. He said, I'd be remiss, the new coach said, if I didn't mention Tyler Guyton. He's having a terrific offseason. He's working his butt off. He looks great. Well, I'm glad to hear that. But we got to get it on the field. We really need to see what Guyton looks like going up against people. We really do. Because, again, we're not worried about, I'm telling us, Tyler Booker, man, I'm sorry. This guy, he's the least of my worries. I think Tyler Booker is going to be great. So, again, that's basically what they're talking about on one Tyler Guyton. So we're gonna move on. Let's get to this. Let's get to Phil Maffa.
Here we go.
I think what they're talking about with Phil Maffa, I don't think people are really talking about Phil Maffa enough. I mean, you know, I understand Jaden Blue, sub 4.340. I mean, yeah, Jaden Blue is a lot to talk about. But when we think about Phil Maffa, I think Phil Maffa has an opportunity to be the future or a piece of the future of this team, especially with Brian Schottenheimer talking about having a violent run game. And if I think about a violent run game, I think about Jaden Blue being more of the finesse part of the run game. The speed doesn't mean he can't run between the tackles, but he's got so much speed. But when I think about a violent run game, I think more of a type of running back like a Javonte Williams, and I also think about Phil Maffa. Says here, Phil Maffa isn't here to bounce carries. Yeah, exactly. That's Jaden Blue. Phil Maffa isn't here to bounce carries outside of run option routes from the slot. At 6'1", 234 pounds, he's here to deliver violence. Yeah. Yep. Jaden Blue is the guy, because I've already been saying it. Jaden Blue, I'm not going to be surprised if he lines up in the slot sometimes, wheel routes out of the backfield. I think he's going to be a part of the run game as well as the passing game. But Phil Maffa, nah, you got him for one purpose and one purpose only, to run the ball. The former Clemson standout rushed for 1,115 yards and 8 touchdowns in his final collegiate season, all with a bum shoulder for most of the year, and made one thing clear along the way: he wants to be the toughest dude on the field. Saying it was one thing, sure, but he already plays like it. Once again, even with a bum shoulder, he's trying to punish people. And it's what the Dallas Cowboys desperately need more of, so it's exciting to hear. Yes. I'm telling this, man, Phil Maffa is insane. It says, for me, and this is a quote from Phil Maffa, he said, for me, it's mentality. He says, my approach to the game is that I have to be the toughest dude on the field. That's how you've got to play the game, especially at the running back position, Maffa said. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, people are not giving this guy's enough talk about him, man. It says Brian Schottenheimer says, and the Cowboys aren't asking him to be Alvin Kamara. They're asking him, if all this works out for a late-round rookie with no guarantees, to be reliable on early downs, finish runs with power, and help them win short yardage situations without having to get cute. Yeah. Yeah, he said, we have to be able to run the football even when the team knows we're going to run it. That's what the 90s Cowboys did. The 90s Cowboys, everybody knew they were running, and they were still running. Says here, Maffa complements the rest of the room well. Javonte Williams is a versatile veteran that plays behind his pads, understands pass pro, and can catch the rock. Jaden Blue is the home run dual threat. Miles Sanders won't wow you in any department, but he plays with good vision. I don't think he's making it. Deuce Vaughn is the short area wizard. I don't think he's making it. Hunter Lipke is the supersized utility knife. They got to figure out how to use him. And it says, of course, Maffa is Mr. 4 yards and a statement between the tackles. Somewhere in there, Dallas can win on the ground. Yeah, I think Maffa's going to be a big part. Says there's still work to do, but Maffa is at the very least saying the right things. He enters the league with a crystal clear identity and an edge that this Cowboys team, especially in the postseason, has needed more need of. In December and January, you want that guy, the toughest dude on the field. Phil Maffa. Yep. Phil Maffa is I'm telling you, he's going to be great for the Cowboys. I'm going to put together some stuff on Phil Maffa over the next couple of days. But I'm telling you, people really need to be talking more about Phil Maffa. I think he is going to be a huge part of the Dallas Cowboys run plans as time goes on. I think he's going to be short yardage. I think he's going to be the set the pace type of running back. I think he could be the bell cow running back. I really do. I think he could be the bell cow running back that the Cowboys are looking for. Ghostface Gaming, he says he think Tober going to elevate this year. I do too. I think he takes a step. I don't know how good it'll be. Angie said, Ghostface, no. Angie don't even call him Tober. She calls him toe burnt. She says it's toe burnt. has been given 1,000,000 years. He should play better. I'm not impressed. Now, Angie, I brought up last night on Cowboys After Hours. One of the things I brought up, let's put this in consideration. If you look at his production pre-Dak Prescott going out, if you look at his production, he had 36 receptions, if I'm not mistaken, before Dak went out. After Dak goes out, he only has 19. I think some of his lack of success, some of it can be attributed to Cooper Rush taking over for Dak Prescott. Not all of it. I'm not saying all of it. But I do believe some of it can be, even though you can still call him Tonebert, I still think that some of that had something to do with, I do think that had something to do with Cooper Rush. D-Block said he believed in Tolbert. Now that we have Pickens, D-Block, I'm saying the same thing. I do think that Pickens will help him to be better. I think Pickens will help him to be better. Tuck said Jerry too cheap to pay GP for next year. Man, I hope you're not right, Tuck. But again, Tuck, think about it. Man, GP might be so good, Tuck. I mean, man, we've seen what Dak has done with some of these other receivers. Man, this dude might play so well that he could literally play himself into a $30 million contract. And I know Jerry's not going to tie that much money up into the wide receivers. But again, man, I hope he's here, and I hope he likes it, and I hope he really takes some strong consideration, because I'm just telling us, boy, the Dallas Cowboy fan base is embracing this dude. They really are. Ghostface said if you score 35 to 40 points a game, you can get by with a non-great defense. I don't want to do it again. And Ghostface, the only reason why I don't want to do it again, because in the playoffs, there could be weather, rain, snow. You could run into so many different circumstances in the playoffs. Man, you always run up against that team that you can't quite score 30 points on. We did it before. We ran up against the 49ers. We couldn't quite run the score up on them like we wanted to. I mean, you just run up against teams in the playoffs that sometimes you can't run it up on. And that's when you need that defense to come through. You need that defense. Daniel M said if we get Ramsey and Reader, he said if we get the double R, he said if we get that double R, it's over for the NFL. Ultra Cowboy. All right, since you mentioned Overshown, let's go to some of the stuff on Overshown. Yeah, I do think Overshown, man, if he can get his body together, and I don't really blame the last injury on him being injury prone. I mean, he got rolled up on. I mean, I don't know what else to say. But if the Cowboys can never get him, if they can never get him healthy, ooh-wee, still going to be nice, man, if they can ever get him healthy. All right. Let's see what's going on with Agent Zero. And y'all better believe we will be giving away an Agent Zero's jersey. First week he's on the field, we're going to have a giveaway. And there's nothing you can do about it. And as a matter of fact, we're probably going to give away, more than one. Let's check him out.
Zero.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us the backstory of how it came to be and living your dream now at Agent Zero in Dallas County.
No, I'm definitely living my dream. You can say that again. Living my dream, it's something that I've been wanting since I got here. So it's like getting it, it's like a sigh, okay? But it's the way that I went about getting it, I think I was kind of, a little too greedy coming in, just expecting it, but the way I went about it, earning it, I think I gained a lot of respect around the building, not going around pouting that I didn't have my favorite number. But the fact that I get to wear it, it's a badge of honor. So I'm looking forward to shining in it.
How'd you get the news? Did Jerry call you? You talked to somebody? Or?
So it's actually, last year, going after the Thanksgiving game, my guy Paxton Anderson, he's my guy. They invited me to come to the jersey print shop. And, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, that's cool. That's something that I've been wanting to do. But it's like, I don't know if 13 going to be my number. So, I'm still holding on to hope. So I was like, let me give Paxton one last call. Let me give it one more hoorah to see if I'm going to rock with it. Because 13, it was doing me good. I didn't have no problem with it. I looked good in it. I was seeing jerseys already. But gave Paxton a call. You know, man, like, can you please put in the word? Like, let me know. Just let me know. Like, you ain't got to ask for the number. Just let me know if I'm going to be able to get it. And he said, you know what, let me give my mom a call. Give me one second. So it was actually came about that I was going to have it, you know, last December. We was just holding on to the news. So, you know, like I say, I'm proud of it. And I'm glad I earned it the way I did.
And you're wearing number 0 out with the rehab work. You're out there on the field doing it. Give us an update on your recovery and how it's going on.
It's going real good. I think it really couldn't be any better. Like, if it was better, I'd probably be out there playing right now. So where I'm at and my rehab and my process, it's like, you know, where I'm supposed to be plus some. So I know it's a process. It's something we're not rushing just because I look good. There's no need to rush the process.
Thank you.
You know, I'm going to come back when I'm 100%, when I'm ready, when I know I can touch the field and, you know, not have to look down and worry about my knee.
Thank you.
Some things that you can do and some things that you can't do just yet.
I mean, I really, if you ask me, I can do everything. I can do anything and everything. But Britt, you know, he dials it down. You know, I started doing a little light jog this week, so that's a plus. But, you know, I'm shuffling, backpedaling, doing all the small things that the beginning of the stages. Like, I'm building into it. But I can do just about everything.
You put on Instagram during the schedule release that you would be active for the Kansas City game on Thanksgiving. Is that still a goal? Is that something that's a realistic goal, or is that locked?
It's definitely realistic. I'm pretty sure that game is week 13. Oh, come on now.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
It's kind of hard to speak on. I'm thinking doing it the smart way, so maybe starting on PUP, maybe not if I'm feeling great. But like I said, I'm gonna let Britt, the magic man, do the work. So I'm just gonna come up here, grind like I'm playing tomorrow. So best believe I'm working as if I was
Smooth
suiting
in
up
the
tomorrow.
crib. What up?
And like I say, whenever they unleash me, I'm gonna be ready to go.
Yeah.
You are one of like the happiest people ever, and Brian Schottenheimer seems to kind of fit that as well. How have you enjoyed having him as the head coach? How have you seen a difference in the energy of the building?
Man, I love it. I'm an energy guy. I mean, every day, you know, I
killing me,
make
Wolf
it,
King.
you know,
I
a
see
thing
you
to
out
make
there.
sure, like, I put a smile on somebody's face before I leave this locker room. And I think Shotty is the same way. You know, this is a work environment, but we don't have to treat it as a work environment. We treat it as somewhere we can come together with a family. We all got one goal, and we coming in having fun while doing it. So the fact that, you know, like I say, the energy is, you know, it's what am I trying to say?
I see you, Blue Star.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Thank you. So, and when everybody is feeling that way, like I say, you got the locker room jumping around. You got everybody excited to go to meetings, everybody excited to go to practice. Now everybody excited to play games. So when you excited to play, you excited to win them as well. So
yeah,
just like I said, you know, the culture we build in here, you can just see it throughout the energy, throughout the faces, throughout the building.
First, as a linebacker guy, what have you picked up from him early on just about playing linebacker, and what are some of the things that he's taught you early?
Just the smaller things, you know, really playing smoother is playing faster. I think early on in my career, going on my year 3, it's kind of crazy to say that, but I feel like most of my plays was just off of, you know, my athletic ability, my willing to make plays. But I feel like he's a coach that's going to put you in that spot, slow you down, so you making a play before it even gets to you. So those tackles at the line of scrimmage are going to turn into TFLs.
What's different about your rehab that you did during your rookie season?
It's basically the same thing. You know, I tore a couple more ligaments, but basically same rehab. I had to ease my way into it with the PCL and the MCL, but other than that, it's just the same process, same end goal.
Did you take notes during that first go-around? Like,
Look, mental notes. I like every spot I didn't hit in my rehab. Like, I remember exactly where I was at last year in that process. So kind of measure it off that, go back and look at videos. And like I say, I'm going to be good when I come back. I'm going to be real good.
Good.
You got the same spot now than you were X amount of months after that first?
I definitely say I'm ahead of that. So I'm feeling better. It's just, like I said, it's a mental thing. Like, once you get over that mental block that, you know, dang, I just tore almost every ligament in my knee. now it's just strengthening the knee again. So that's all I'm doing. Every opportunity I done got to play on the field, I done show people what I can do. So if that's still a question to some people, then I just say turn on the tape. You know, of course, I want to play a full, healthy year. I want to be healthy. That's what's best for my team.
Amen.
And I know it's best for my career. So, like I say, I ain't got this rehab is actually easier than the first one. First one I was going into blindly, like not knowing what the NFL was. I know I can play in the NFL now. It's just getting healthy.
That's it.
Yes,
See,
sir.
young
Thank
man.
y'all.
Man, the Cowboys need this guy on the field bad. He's so inspirational. Such an inspirational kid. I'll be glad when the Cowboys can get him back on the field. I mean, the way he leads with he leads by example, and I love that about him. His play, man, is so infectious, and like I said, I'm really excited to get him on the field. Okay, hold on a second. So they got Damone Clark on here. I'm very interested to see what Damone Clark has to say. I mean, I did a video on him this past week. May have to do a follow-up after this. Let's check him out.
So just kind of tell us about the early parts of OTAs and what's been new on the defensive side.
Man, everything's new. Got a new coaching style. But it's fun. It's fun just being the coaches being there with us. Coaches showing that they care about us. You know, every step of the way. You know, obviously it's a new scheme, so we're learning. You know, they being patient with us, but with them being patient at the same time, we got to do our part outside the facility. Looking at the installs and doing our part, like I said.
What's been most fun? Sit down. Just to look, have the even look. Tell us a little bit about what makes it fun. Why is it fun this year compared to maybe some of the other?
If you look at the defenses that Coach Flus had, man, they had them boys flying. Having Hook that played for Coach Flus, so he's an ear already that he's telling us how it is. And I mean, we turned the tape on even last year with Chicago, when they was in Indy. I think about Darius Leonard. Like, you got them guys running, flying to the ball. You got T.J. Edwards, and you got Tremaine Edmonds flying to the ball. Sandman doing the same thing, flying to the ball. So it's fun. Flus is a linebacker guy, so it's good to have him and Coach Gonzo in there with us. You know, we picking their brains, learning from both of them.
It kind of feels like there's a lot of synergy between position groups.
I would really like them to ask him about himself. I mean, I like all the stuff that he's talking about, but, man, Damone Clark, man, he's down there on the depth chart right now. I would like for them to ask him about himself. You know, maybe they'll ask him here. There's only a minute left on it. But I would definitely like to hear some things about himself. Like, what is he going to do to get on the field this year?
Kind of like what you just said with the safeties and even defensive tackles at times. What has that been like, kind of meshing with the rest of the defense, but also trying to do your job as a linebacker?
Bro, it's fun because, like, it's running hit, you know, flying to the ball. You know, that's what we do. That's what the defense do, and that's what we stand on. That's one of the principles that we standing on, and we just got to go out there every day and just keep doing it.
How much confidence have you gained throughout the offseason?
Oh, a lot of confidence, man. You got somebody like Coach Gonzo, Coach JJ, Coach Flus. Like, you got guys that sit there and, like, it's a fresh start. You know, I don't got to worry about what happened last year. You know, that's in the past. You know, you got coaches here that care about you, that want to see you succeed, and our success is their success. So it's a partnership. We're working hand in hand.
What's been your individual goal mindset going into the year?
Just be me. You know, leave last year behind. You know, last year was a rough year. You have those. You have rough years, but you just got to keep pressing. That's part of being a pro. You're not gonna always have up seasons. You're not gonna always have down seasons. You know, you got to find a way to stay consistent with it. So that's my thing. Just be consistent. Come here each day. Be intentional. Do what I'm supposed to do, and be the person that I know that I can be.
Yeah, let me play that part again. I'm sorry, I'm texting. I hope that didn't hurt your ear.
Rough year, you have those. You have rough years, but you just last year was a rough year. You have just be me. You know,
your individual
partnership. We're working hand in hand.
What's been your individual goal mindset going into the year?
Just be me. You leave last year behind.
Yeah, I like that. I like that right there. Man, let me tell you something. If you ever want to progress in this life, you have to forget those things that lie behind. And you got to keep pushing forward towards the mark. You have to do it. And this dude here, man, he got, hey, Angie, you right on time with where I am. Random thought, and I don't think it's random. Why is Damone Clark still on the team? He did an interview too, but I didn't care to watch. And that's what we're watching right now. And he really didn't get to the good part until right here at 2:12. If you look at his 2023 season, Damone Clark was off the chain gang. He was off the chain gang in 2023. For whatever reason, and I haven't been able to find it when you research it, but it seemed like him and Zimmer were not on the same page. It seems like Damone Clark and Zimmer were not on the same page for whatever reason, because from everything I saw, it didn't seem like it was an injury. I guess he didn't work. I don't know exactly what it was, Angie, but I think he's still on the team, because, Angie, you know how our Cowboys are. You know how our front office is. Angie, you know how Jerry and Steven are. We get real sentimental about our players. We draft players with injuries. And you know what? Love or hate the Cowboys front office. But one thing that they'll typically do, if they draft you and take a chance on you with an injury, has anybody not noticed that, love them or hate them, the Cowboys will pay them? They'll pay those players. They'll pay them, Angie. We saw him pay Jalen Smith. We saw him pay Dak Prescott after that cataclysmic injury. They didn't have to pay Dak Prescott, but they paid him. I mean, we've seen. I'm sorry about that. We've seen them. We've seen them. They paid Van Der Esch. They paid Van Der Esch. The Cowboys full well knew Van Der Esch had a neck injury when they drafted him. Yep, when they drafted him. Cowboys are very sentimental about the players they draft. And I think the Cowboys, they drafted Damone Clark, and they want to see, and they want to give him every opportunity, Angie. The Cowboys want to give Damone Clark every opportunity to succeed. And they're going to see what he is this year. But I don't know if you saw the video I did. I'm about to do a follow-up later on tonight, now that I've seen him on this. Hey, Damone Clark and the Cowboys, I guess they've all decided, hey, you know what? It was a bad year. It was a down year. It was a down year. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, let's see what you look like with Eberflus. Y'all remember, Matt Eberflus is the linebacker whisperer. I don't know what that means, but I know what the whisperer means, but he's the linebacker whisperer. He can bring the best out of linebackers. And so, Angie, he may be still on the team because maybe they're saying if there's somebody that can bring the best out of him, it will be Matt Eberflus. It will be Matt Eberflus. Maybe that's what they're telling us. Yep, maybe that's what they're telling us. And so maybe he'll be able to give him that direction because what you're saying, he seemed lost on the field. Maybe that's why him and Zimmer didn't mesh. Maybe he's going to mesh. Maybe he's going to mesh with Eberflus. Let's hear the rest of the statement. I put it on repeat. I'm sorry, I was trying to multitask, and I got lost. But let's hear it one more time. I kind of like what he said, but I want to hear it in full.
Rough years, but you just got to keep pressing. That's part of being a pro. You're not going to always have up seasons. You're not going to always have down seasons. You got to find a way to stay consistent with it. So that's my thing. Just be consistent. Come here each day. Be intentional. Do what I'm supposed to do, and be the person that I know that I can be.
Yeah, I like that. That's exactly what you want to hear. That's exactly what you want to hear. Now again, this is just OTAs. But again, I'm glad to hear some of this stuff. Yeah, I'm with you too, Ty Church. I'm glad to hear Guyton is working hard, man. I am. Glad to hear him working hard. Yeah, Daniel M., I heard the same thing. Miami might eat some of the money. Yeah, Cowboys, they may eat some of the money. And if they eat some of the money, again, though, Daniel M., don't be sold on him coming in as a cornerback. I think he may come in as a safety. And I think he would be devastating. Like, what was his name? Charles Woodson? He'd be devastating as a safety. Boy, he'd be devastating as a safety. I'd love to see it. Yeah, more money. Yeah, Maffa nice, man. Maffa nice. He is. Facts on top of. Good. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't bust y'all's ears. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I'm telling you, man, he is nice. He really is. I'm gonna find a way to try to get some film on him without getting copyright struck. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, hey, Wolf King, I think so too. Yeah, he a bell cow back, man. He really is. Let me check this super chat. My sister Angie hit me with another super chat. Angie says, I vote Toburn, Clark, Wilson, Sanders, Hooker, and Campbell off this team. Too bad my vote don't matter. I don't know. Your vote might not matter, but Angie. Tolbert makes the team, I believe. Tolbert makes the team. I think Damone Clark is going to have an uphill battle. Donovan Wilson may be a post-June first cut. Let me pull the next one up. Sanders, I think the running back room is too crowded. I don't think Sanders make it. I think the Cowboys cut Sanders during training camp. I don't think he makes it. Malik Hooker. I don't think he makes it either. I think Marquise Bell, they paid him. He's going to be one of the players. He's going to play at the safety position. It's only a matter now if they get Jalen Ramsey. It's only a matter if they get Jalen Ramsey. I don't think Jalen Ramsey comes in and plays cornerback. I think Jalen Ramsey going to shock some people, Angie. I think that joker comes in and plays safety. Paris Campbell, he got some speed. I think the Cowboys are going to give him an opportunity. But the Cowboys, they have a very crowded wide receiver room. And I don't know if speed is going to save Campbell. But again, your vote may not matter, but what they got going on the field, you may see how many people you got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 of the 6 of these things may happen. Got a strange feeling, though, Tober going to make it. Angie said, appreciate the super chat. Angie said, bring back T.Y. Hilton. He could take Tolbert job. I put $1 on it, just like Tolbert jersey number. Angie, I bet you T.Y. Hilton now. I bet you T.Y. Hilton ain't even working out no more. I bet you T.Y. Hilton ain't even working out no more. Boy, I'll never forget when the Cowboys brought T.Y. Hilton in. What was that, 2023 maybe? And T.Y. Hilton caught a bomb up the sideline from Dak Prescott. Last pass we saw. I don't even understand why we didn't even use him after he did that, boy. I'll never understand it. But again, I appreciate the super chats from my sister Angie. All right, so Cowboys got quite a few of these interviews on here. Okay, they have Demarion Overshown, Tyler Smith, Oso Digizua. I'm telling y'all, man, I think Oso Digizua gonna be a beast this year. They also have Joe Milton III on here, who we talked about earlier. Let's check out Joe Milton III, and then we'll check out Tyler Smith. Let's check out what they're saying about Joe Milton.
Stylistically, what Shotty's trying to get done. The offense can be explosive. I feel like, we we're taking the right step in the right direction every day. I feel like the way that we approach the days and the way that we go about the days, we just put our best foot forward, and we're taking attention. We're paying attention to small details and understanding what he's asking for us to do. So that's pretty much it.
Were you looking for a fresh start somewhere? Like, did the trade catch you by surprise? What sense do you make of it?
Yes, it did catch me by surprise. Was I surprised? Yes. I kind of woke up around like 7 o'clock, woke up to a call, and I knew I was getting traded. And, only thing I could have done only thing I did at that moment was thank God. I'm blessed. So coming here was a blessing. I didn't know it was going to be here. My agent said it was multiple teams that called, so I didn't know where I was going to end up. I was just thankful to go somewhere.
Why are you blessed to be here? What was it about?
Man, back in the heat, for one. They allowed me to play in the Dome, for two. For three, it's America's team, and then also it's just great to learn from somebody like that.
The last game that you started against Buffalo, what do you think you showed in that game that what can be for what you can be?
I don't think I showed nothing for real. I think I was just out there having fun. Me personally, I feel like it was just, just doing what the play call wanted me to do, and that was just executing plays. There were some plays where I extended plays, but at the end of the day, I was just doing what I knew how to do and what AVP wanted.
What's the difference in the dynamic when you?
I love that answer from Joe Milton III. I absolutely love that answer. While everybody else is going bonkers over the Buffalo Bills game, he's saying I didn't really show anything. And I've said the same thing from a different perspective. And this tells me something about Joe Milton. And this is why, I said what I said about Joe Milton at the beginning. I don't think people understand. Words carry weight. Let this kid just come in here and learn. And maybe he, as Poobie D keeps saying, Poobie D keeps saying that he believes Joe Milton III is going to be the transition quarterback. That when Dak is done, Joe Milton will get his time. But again, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm going to be honest with you guys about Joe. Well, let me say this, and then I'm going to be honest about Joe Milton. But I like how Joe Milton is talking. He's here. He wanted to come to Dallas so he could learn. Dak Prescott is a great quarterback to learn from. Not only so he could learn, and I do believe he wants to start, but he understands what this is. I mean, he knows. I guarantee you he knows what this is. But he's not all cocky and all those things, and he's going to have to keep that same energy because I'm sure that they're not lying about some of the things he was saying over in New England. But at the same time, I also give him this. I think a part of it is he probably felt like he outplayed the quarterback there. And so because he felt like he outplayed him, he was younger than him, Joe probably felt like he couldn't learn anything from him. He can learn from Dak. And I'm going to tell y'all this, and this has nothing to do with Dak Prescott. But ask yourself this. This kid is, 25, about to be 26. And I know we're saying this from the perspective of, yeah, we want him to be the backup quarterback. So if something happens to Dak, he'll be here and we'll have a good insurance policy. But I'm looking at this a different type of way. Joe Milton III is 25 years of age. If Dak Prescott stays healthy throughout the remainder of this contract, Not only does Dak Prescott, I'm telling you, book it. Dak Prescott's contract for the next 2 seasons, and really the whole contract is fully guaranteed. Even when they choose to walk away from Dak Prescott, he's still going to hit him. It's still going to hit him in the pocket. The contract is designed for Dak to be here, not for him not to be here. But if all things goes according to plan, this dude will be 29 years of age by the time he even gets an opportunity. And let's just say, if Dak does, and I do think they're going to extend Dak if Dak is still playing well. If Dak can stay healthy, he still plays at a high level. I guarantee you they extend that deal another 2 years. This dude may be 29, 30, or 31 before he even hits the field for the Dallas Cowboys. I just think different as a father. You got to forgive me. I have 4 sons. I don't want that for Joe Milton. I don't want that for Joe Milton. I didn't want it for Trey Lance. I didn't want Trey Lance to back up Dak Prescott for 4 years and be a career backup. If Trey Lance is good enough to play, I would rather him go somewhere else and play. Joe Milton isn't some 22-year-old quarterback, 21 years old, 22 years old. He can sit on the bench for 3 years. I mean, this dude don't want to be Danny White. Become the starter for the Dallas Cowboys when he's 28, 29 years old? If Joe Milton is really going to develop into being that good, my dream scenario for Joe Milton, he learns on the Dak Prescott this year. He learns on the Dak Prescott maybe, and I'm just going to put it in perspective. I hope he gets so good that teams next year are beating the Cowboys' door down for second-round draft pick, first-round draft pick. I want this kid to get an opportunity to play in this league on another team. I don't want a kid this young sitting behind Dak Prescott. And you got to think about this. The backup quarterback, if you're not that good of a backup quarterback, I guess, and you know that you basically are, hey, man, I'm just a backup quarterback. I'm really not that good. You don't mind backing up Dak Prescott. Cooper Rush wouldn't have minded backing up Dak Prescott till he was 34, 35 years old. Cooper Rush was not a starting quarterback in this league, and I told you the league was going to speak and tell you he wasn't a starting quarterback in this league. But if Joe Milton can really be that good, why would we want him sitting on the Cowboys bench for 3 or 4 years? I'm just saying that from a perspective. I love the team. But do you really want that for this kid? To sit on the bench? And if he's capable of being a starter, sitting on the bench behind Dak Prescott for 3-4 years. I couldn't do it. And I'm sorry, as a quarterback, I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to do it. Oh, yeah. Milton Nose reminds me of Humpty Shock G. Yep. I see it too. Now, Angie, some people might not know who Humpty Hump is from. They might not know Shock G from the Humpty Hump. They might remember the song, but not the nose. Kind of reminds you of him a little bit, don't he? I'm telling you, I wouldn't want him to be on the bench like that. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't. Hey, if he's good for the Cowboys, he's good for the Cowboys. But if you're talking about this kid can be a starter, and we know unless it's an injury, he's not going to play, I wouldn't want that for a kid like this. Cooper Rush is a career backup, period. End of story. Cooper Rush, career backup. Career backup. But if this kid is good as people, and we're going to see some more of him in training camp, why would we want this dude to sit by Dak Prescott for 3 or 4 years? Be 29 years of age by the time he gets on the field? I'm sorry, I wouldn't want that for a kid this young, because I wouldn't want it for my own sons. I wouldn't.
Like Drake, who's also a young guy, versus now working with someone like Dak and being in the position you're in?
I feel like I can learn something. And when I say that, Dak, he played more.
No, Drake may. No, Joe Milton. I understand Joe Milton's about to be politically correct, but I said this about Joe Milton when I first talked about him coming to Dallas. The dude didn't feel like he could learn anything from Drake May. Drake May is younger than him. Drake May is actually the age that typically quarterbacks come out of college. What is Drake May? 21, 22? Man, you 25. You can't. No one should have expected this guy to even. Drake May is 22. I'm sure Milton was looking at him saying, I'm not learning from this guy. And I'm actually better than this guy. I think he was probably thinking that.
Football than I have, and he's been in the NFL longer, so I feel like I can learn something from the aspect of like just quarterback overall. Because he's seen a lot, he's been through a lot, so just being able to figure out the whole quarterback position as a whole.
Speaking of having fun earlier, the backflip.
Yeah.
So what's the backstory there? I know you've done it in a game before, but is that a daily occurrence? What?
Yeah, I do a backflip. Once football starts, I try to do a backflip every day.
When did that start?
Kind of when I got to the NFL. I did it at Tennessee, but since I was the starter, Hyper didn't want me to do it too much. But I told him, like, man, I'm good. Like this is what I do, man. I'm fine, trust me. And he was like, okay. So I kept doing it.
Obviously, you're getting some mentorship from Dad. Shotty spoke also to how you get some mentorship from Will as well. Just talk about the chemistry in that quarterback room and just how you guys are playing off of each other and how it can make you better.
Yeah, it's great, man. Us three have 3 different games. Dak brings the most experience to the room, and Will's, he's been around football, throughout his whole life. So, and then you got me, where I didn't grow up with a quarterback coach. I just happen to be so athletic, and I bring extra tools I done learned along the way.
Alvin Harper.
I'm able to do certain things. So, like, putting it all together, we just shape one great quarterback. You know what I mean? So it's just great. We feed off each other. They help me out a lot, man. Shout out to those two, man. Like, respect. For sure, just like no matter what it is, like they're willing to help regardless.
I can believe Mr. J look like CD Lamb a little bit, don't he?
What's the quickest way for a quarterback to get acclimated into maybe a new playbook, a new scheme?
It depends. I done been through several ways. I done started off learning by formations. I done started off learning by concepts. I done started off learning about just all runs or all pass. Like, it depends. But the best way to do it is learn by concepts, and then when you get time off, learn the formations. Learn the formations, and then you'll be fine. Because the more you learn the concepts, the better you'll know where guys will be. But I feel like guys are different. I feel like for me, and what one of my quarterback trainers taught me, is use poker chips. Put some letter on poker chips and move those guys around. Get a slip of white tape, make that your line of scrimmage, and move that around because it's easier instead of drawing and erasing. So.
Shotty was talking today about when coordinators come in and they're talking about adapting the language to the current, the existing quarterback. How different is the language here than you had?
Oh, it's way different. This offense here brings me back to more of my college days, and my last offense was more everybody get tagged.
Daniel Lim, and Dak is what takes him to the third. Yeah,
more fast and for sure explosive.
When did you start doing the?
What's your process in terms of like that you talk about with the poker chips and kind of like seeing the schemes or protections in terms of the language? Is it something that you do out loud, or how do you do that?
Well, it depends. So for me, my girl, she'll have the script and she'll literally call out a play. and I have to repeat it back to her, and then my poker chips will be lined up, and then I'll just draw up the formation or line the poker chips up in the formation, and then I'll move them around based off which routes they have.
Almost like running lines.
Yeah, basically it is.
How often do you do that?
It depends. So like when I'm really like struggling, and that's hardly because I learn fast, but I do it like when we get back off. So like when we go off on the month break, I do that a lot. I do that every day. I haven't done it since I've been here because I'm learning more of the concepts first, not formation. So I'll do it when we get off.
How did you was your girlfriend just down to do it? Like, or did you say like, hey, can you help me? Or she's like, hey, I will help you.
Well, the first day it happened, she just grabbed the script and see what I was reading. And then she said a play, and then I said it back to her, and then she just kept going ever since then.
That's awesome.
And we did it just, my first, before I got drafted, we was doing it on the way home. So we'll drive like 2 hours and 30 minutes, and we was just doing it in the car.
So do you kind of have like a target date, I guess, when you might start doing that kind of work again here after the fight?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I got to buy some new walkie-talkies then, for sure.
After that Buffalo game, you didn't think anything like, there was no feeling of like, man, I can do this. The NFL is that much.
Man, after the Buffalo game, I was like, man, it's fun. I feel like I can keep doing this. I feel like there's more that I need to let out as far as that Buffalo game. But other than that, man, I was just having fun. It's probably one of my best days of my life.
If somebody had never seen you play and said, let me see one play from that game that you liked the most, what play would it have been?
Sheesh. Probably the naked to the left when the linebacker tried to hit me, and I stood over him, and I still completed the crosser. I was talking a lot of trash, for sure. Yeah, that one for sure. Yeah.
I guess from afar, the feeling is like when you see you have a game like that, you think that, well, that organization's not going to let him go anywhere.
Right.
So did you kind of have that feeling as well?
I really didn't know, to be honest. Everything was up for grabs. I went in there, I did what the play caller and the head coach wanted me to do, and that's win the game. That's all we preached that week, and that's what I did. So I didn't know what was going to happen. It was the last game of the season. I was just going off, happy. I went off with a win, my first game ever in the NFL. So that's pretty much all I was thinking about. And then until 2 months later, and boom, I'm here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What was the draft process like? I mean, on the draft day,
yeah.
The next day, like waiting for your name to be called. What was that like?
To be honest, it was cool at first because it was like surreal. It was just like, man, like this is actually happening. And then it was like, okay, I was talking to my agent. I was supposed to go second round. Then it was like, okay, we don't know what happened. And then it was like, people want to talk to me. And then it's like, oh, such and such. And I'm like, all right, so what's going to happen? Where am I going to go? And I get in the car to go to the cookout. And as I'm in the car on the third day, it's a New England at the top. And I was just like, should I answer it? And they was like, yeah. I'm like, I really don't want to answer it. And they was like, answer it. So I picked it up, and I was at New England.
Were you just scared to answer it, or?
I wouldn't say more of scared to answer. I was more mad that I had to go that late. So it just added fuel to the fire for sure. I feel like my chip on my shoulder got bigger.
Edge is killing me over here. He's talking about Trey Lance should have been the running back too behind Rico. Edge is killing me, boy. She said Trey Lance should have been the number 2 running back. Oh, man, I done heard it all. Boy, I done heard it all. Edge got me rolling over here. But again, let me tell you something. I was trying to look it up, and I'm gonna see if I can look this up some more. Isn't it strange? I wonder if other backup quarterbacks are getting interviewed like Joe Milton III. I'm still waiting on the Will Grier interview. I'm hoping we get a Will Grier interview today. What media piles around the backup quarterback in OTAs? Tell me who it is. I'd love to know. I'm telling you in the worst way, man. I'm telling you in the worst way about this Dallas media. I'm telling you, it's insanity to me. Where's the Will Greer interview? Is Will Greer even on the team? I mean, if Schotty and Joe Milton don't bring him up, if Dak don't bring him up, is he on the team? What other team is interviewing the media, the local media is interviewing the backup quarterback? I'm just telling you. Only in Dallas. Only in Dallas. I've already prepared myself mentally for this. Joe Milton, every time he makes a throw, it is going to be Joe Milton talk. Joe Milton talk. I love Dak. I love Joe Milton, but man, come on, man. Gene said, "G, I can't believe you are constantly insinuating Dak is from this point forward. He's going to play 6 seasons in a row without missing a game." Oh, I'm not saying he's not missing a game. Nope, not saying he's not missing the game. Not even insinuating that. But if I'm Joe Milton and I know I'm good, I don't want to back up Dak Prescott for 4 or 5 years, only playing 2 or 3 games, maybe 4 games, 5 games a season in 4 seasons. Nah, I don't want to do that. It's not about Dak Prescott it's not about Dak Prescott not getting hurt. That's not the case. I'm Joe Milton. I don't want to play the last game of the season because the Cowboys have won so many games, they don't need the last game of the season, for example. I don't want to just play a game like that. This dude is 25 years old, man. I'm just telling us, Joe Milton is 25 years old. I like Joe Milton. I think Joe Milton is talented. And it's the same thing I said about Trey Lance. You can go back and check. I didn't want Trey Lance backing up Dak Prescott. If Trey Lance was as good as people said he was, why would this dude even want to be a backup quarterback? Cooper Rush is a career backup quarterback again. Cooper Rush would not have minded being here until he was 35 years of age. Trey Lance could have been here too. He didn't consider himself a backup quarterback. Trey Lance, 24 years old. I think Trey Lance is still going to get an opportunity some kind of way. But he's got to work himself up. Another big arm, big body quarterback, elusive, all these things. Third string quarterback, Los Angeles Chargers. Joe Milton backing up to Dak Prescott. I wouldn't want to be Dak's backup for longer than, I mean, hey, man. I'm talking if I'm Joe Milton, bro, I'm talking this year. I don't even want to back up Dak Prescott 2 years. I'm talking this year. 2 maximum. Come year 3, Dak Prescott still the starter. Man, I got to get up out of here. I'm not trying to be a career backup. Not if I'm as good as people say Joe Milton is. I'm not. And if those are my sons, I wouldn't want that for them. Get somewhere and play, man. See if you can get somewhere and play. I wouldn't want to be a back. I'm sorry. I would not want to be a career backup. I would not want to be a career backup. Simmons said, I think they're going to keep Joe for 2 seasons, then draft back Dak's replacement in 2027 to play behind Dak and learn for a season, then take over his second season. I think that may be a smart move. I think what's going to happen, I think it's going to be something similar to that. I think that they'll draft Dak Prescott's replacement. I don't think Joe Milton is it. I don't. I think they'll draft him. And I do think Dak Prescott probably gets extended. Doesn't mean he's going to play all 6 of those years. but I do think Dak Prescott may find himself in some type of extension. I really do. Because I don't think Dak's deal is made to cut Dak. I think Dak's deal is designed for Dak to retire a Cowboy. I do. All right. That's going to be it for me. Whatever other news come down, you'll either catch it on videos or you'll catch it on the next live stream, which will be tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow at 4:30. And hey, man, I'm on the road. I did Cowboys After Hours on Monday, Wednesday, and it went well. So we might do Cowboys After Hours on Friday. We'll see how I feel. If I'm feeling pretty good, y'all get ready. We're gonna get a double dose tomorrow because there should be plenty of news coming down today and tomorrow. But again, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button on the way out. And y'all are the best chat, Cowboys chat on YouTube. I appreciate you. Love you. Love your support. Until the next time, DC4L, let's talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Peace.